All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? All the choices you made, did you make them again, 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 again? All the lies that you told, did you believe in them? Again, 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 again. Did you make them again? All the choices you made, did you make them
All the choices you made, did you make them
And welcome back, everybody. It's that time again. NECC is up and rolling. I'm joined by the one and the only Regdorcast. I'm gonna be real, man. This time around, I know I'm normally always gassing you up at the start. I couldn't think of anything to top last week, so I gotta, just keep it flat this time around. I'm joined by Regdor.
Yeah, you know what? Not every time can I get all my positive affirmations right here at NECC, but it's still good to be here. We're coming up on the World Finals, but like we don't even have to talk about that. We've got our own anime protagonist storyline here in NECC tonight. We're in the Great Lakes Division Emergence. We love to see it. I'm just excited to see what these boys are going to pull out on stream today.
Yeah, I was about to say, Worlds. Who cares about that, bro? Get that out of here. I don't care. I'm here to see NIU go hands with Valpo because this is a very, very, very special, crucial, determining a lot of other buzzwords match for NIU. Right? They're 0-5 at the moment. Not the best showing. You hate to see it. They've been they've been fighting some battles. You know, they've had a 1-2 and then a lot of 0-2s, and so now they really need to get a win on the board. And Rector, some would say, when you want to get your first win, you don't want to go up against the best team. I say, what better time to do it than take out the top team in your bracket, Valpo Esports, that's 5-0 at the moment, and it's looking like a bit of a menace.
Yeah, they are actually just Valpo's the inverse of NIU, where they've won everything with a 2-0, minus that 1-2-1 they did drop a game to Purdue Fort Wayne. And I'm kind of along the same lines. Like, I love watching collegiate space because it's still the wild, wild west. We're growing, we're learning, developing. And even for a young team like NIU, they still have a lot of room to grow, and they can show it right here on Cast tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So let's take a look at who's looking to show us what they've got. We've seen this team before, and in the top lane, Boostic 23, Jungle, Ruckalike, love the name, always will. Nerval's Lobster in the mid lane, RJT Frew in the bot, and I love Taxes on the support role.
And over on the other side, we do have Valpo Esports with Anaya 08 up in the top lane, Zach XDR in the jungle, MF Jemkimbo in the mid lane, and then we got Thonk Senpai and Steamroller 14 making up the bot lane. These are some great names. I'm just going to say Thonk Senpai is not one I had on my bingo card for this year, but nonetheless, here they are with what is mostly a core of like senior players here, with a junior, senior, and a grad student as well making up Valpo, and it's kind of showing in their play thus far as they sit atop of the emergent Great Lakes division.
Yeah, 5-0, first place in the maps wise, 10-1. They have given up a single match, like a single match right there. That is hard to do when you play 5 games against these teams in a best of 3 situation. That is quite daunting if you're looking at that, especially if you are NIU right at the bottom of the bracket. Unfortunately, 1-10, 0-5. It's going to be quite the uphill battle.
Yeah, but this is the year, this is the meta where anything can happen. And something I was thinking about earlier as you talk about NIU, we have seen them on the cast multiple times, and players like Brock Eliot, who shows a lot of great potential, has had a lot of great individual performances, and as teams tried to play around. But that's the scary thing about divisions like this and tournaments like this, where you know the meta in solo queue. You can look at the pro scene and higher levels and be like, this is the meta, but there's a microcosm of it here. There's always these weird things. We've seen Karthus bot lane. We've seen, enchanters and solo lanes. We've seen all these oddities that you look anywhere else, that's not going to happen. But we're going to get into the draft and see if they did cook up anything wild here for us in game number 1.
Yeah, definitely oddities, name of the game. Maybe we get to see something. NIU has to really, dig deep. If there was ever a good time to pick something where we're like, what the hell are you doing? Now would be the time, right? You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. And I think a really good point that you brought up, right? When we got to see NIU last time, right? We saw individually some really good performances coming out from the likes of Brock Eliot, from the likes of Boostic, right? But it just felt like overall the sum, the sum of the parts just wasn't where it needed to be. And so that just kind of ended up forcing them to take the L. They would lose a little bit here, lose a little bit there, and that just kind of snowballed until there was really no recovery.
Yeah, and not to take away from RJT Fru and Isle of Taxes, but that has been kind of a pressure point for the side of NIU, and the fact that this is still a very bot-centric meta. This is a place where you want to be stacking dragons, you want to get that ADC ahead so they can kind of be that carry in the mid to late game. And that's been really hard to get off the ground when your shining stars have kind of been towards the top side of the map. Rumble mid, Echo, I don't know that I've seen a whole lot of this lately. And into a Swain even more so. That's going to be a wild matchup.
Dude, I might have to brush up on my champ ability names, man. I haven't seen a Rumble period in, I don't even know how long, especially in the mid lane. We talked about how we want to see some picks that, kind of make us, scratch the back of our heads and go like, is this really going to be effective? And honestly, love to see it coming out from NIU already out of the gates here, but that is the first couple of picks out of the way. We move on to the rest of the bans. I'm looking at it, and so far, a lot of jungle-centric bans had been coming out from Valpo, and it's fairly reminiscent of what we talked about, right? That Brock Eliot was such a huge driving force in these last couple of games. So the question is Hecarim going to be up to the challenge?
And his Hecarim has been something that has been amazing. And looking at the champion so far paired alongside it here in the solo lanes, with having the Rumble, who should be able to keep push into Swain. It's one of those picks that you can skirmish a lot early, and then just with the flamethrower plus the overheat, kind of annihilate the wave and look to match up with Hecarim. Should be nice. But this bottom lane of pulling out the Aphelios Sona into Senna. So in the draft, that was Senna picked on R2. So RJT Fru choosing the Aphelios into it. This is a rather safe lane alongside the Sona that I think just wants to try to match scaling. That I'm very interested in seeing how it's going to work out, because we were saying we were looking at it off draft, you couldn't actually tell where anybody was going minus the Senna from Valpo until they lined up here in the LCS order.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was looking like the Senna comp. It's like anything really could go, but now that we kind of can actually see what's going down here, I'm looking at the bot lanes especially, right, with Senna and Tom Kench, and I'm a little bit worried that if the amount of poke that comes out from Isle of Taxes, right, with those Qs isn't going to be enough. I feel like they might have a bit of a rough time just with the amount of range that comes out from the Senna Qs and from the Tom Kench tongues as well.
Yeah, and that's in one of these spots where this should be, the starving Senna. This should be the support item Senna who's looking to farm up souls from getting those auto attacks plus Qs in lane to try to turbo into this. And I think it's really intelligent from the side of NIU to say, okay, you really want to play against a melee matchup to be able to really abuse that distance. So we're going to choose, an enchanter double ranged into it and try to make not only Tom Kench's life kind of hard here in the early game, even though he has just absurd base stats. Try to play in the wave and poke him away from farm, and then be able to match the Senna's aggression in the mid game. And Aphelios is such a strong scaler. We've seen a lot of his priority in the pro levels of play as this handshake into other scaling matchups. It'll just really be a question of if the side of NIU has kind of like that G2, that 200 IQ intelligence to be able to play around good gun rotations around these objectives to really give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, listen, man. Maybe the move is, you go 0-5, make them think you're the weakest link, and then all of a sudden you come from left field, right, and take them out. As we have about 2 minutes left until we get on the Rift. I will say though, I'm looking at the Shen, right, and that is looking to me like something that's going to enable Brock Eliak to just be, he was aggressive before. Now, once level 6 comes around, he can be even more so aggressive.
Yeah, and that's what we hope to see. We've seen a couple of Shins being pulled out here in NECC, and that's always been kind of the biggest complaint is that we're not using this Stand United as an aggressive tool, as a proactive piece, and more so it's been used as that defensive tool to try to give him that magic shield to survive through a scenario. If Boostic is able to get out on the map and say, hey, I'm willing to forego a bit of top lane farm, I'm willing to give up a little bit here to get my Aphelios ahead, to get Broccolaya ahead, that would be huge, because the big things they're going to need for this kind of like solo lane situation to work out is Rumble needs something to help make the equalizer more effective. When you have the crescendo, when you have the taunt from Boostic, these things, invite people standing in one spot and be able to get a lot of that damage down. It'll just be on really Nerval's Lobster and Broccolaya to not anti-synergize themselves. Equalizer's not really effective when everybody's feared away from it there in these team fights.
Definitely. So obviously, though, Boostic is going to have to be careful, right? Because I would be very surprised if Anaya doesn't just, kind of stick on top of him when they feel like he's going to be using that Stand United and utilize that Rupture to cancel the channel coming through. So Boostic got to be careful that, that ulti doesn't go to waste, that he finds somewhere to hide. But I'm really looking at the jungle matchup in itself. And Zach XDR, man, he's not going to make it easy for Brock Eliak to just do what he pleases.
Yeah, see, here's the thing is that Trundle's cool. Trundle's a champion. But Hecarim really does well into him early on in the sense that you're not really building resistances. It's the same concept as like the Wukong. You're not building straight armor. You're just building health. So like the Subjugate doesn't do as much in the 1v1 against him. He has a lot of disruptions and that stacking MR. I guess if you get him, why that world, the Orb of Dread is down, like there's some room there. But I think in the early phase, you're going to have a bit of an advantage over towards Broccolaya with that faster clear, and then being able to try to just use what is a more useful gank setup in these lanes to start really hopefully snowballing Nerval Lobster and unlocking that mid lane for them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I feel like we don't have to touch on too much as to what Valpo has to do in order to win, because I mean, from what we've seen from their track record, they seem to, they've got the game plan. They can play however they please. And we need to look at the flip side of the coin, right? NIU. Do you feel like, this mid jungle synergy is where they're going to find that key to success? Or does Brock Eliak just have to be like, listen, screw all of you. I need to play for myself, right? I'm power farming a 6 and I'm taking all the kills.
I mean, yeah, Hecarim is a really selfish jungler that would love to get kills and snowball his way in the game. But my biggest thing about Hecarim in this current iteration is he's not the backline assassin that we're used to, just dives back there and just murders the Senna. It's just not going to work out the same way. So I think that he has to be a somewhat supportive jungler, help get kills over to these laners to create some sense of parity for them. Because on paper, as we've talked about, Valpo is just the better players individually. It'll be a question of, if Broccolaya can use that influence to help the team as a whole as we get onto the Rift.
Yeah, well, I'm already liking what I'm seeing. A couple of members stepping forward here, going to drop down some vision, but I've been baited. But yet again, it made it look like there was going to be some action, but nothing will come to fruition. Regardless, though, pressure's already being seeded.
Yeah, pressure's already coming. So something interesting here is that Steamroller 14 on the Tahm Kench, like we talked about, will be farming. However, is very much so kitted for the regular support role. Has the Guardian Keystone, as well as taking that Inspiration secondary. You can see the minion dematerializers in his pocket. This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Generally, the beauty of having a Bruiser down there with the Senna is that it enables you to have another source of gold farming and have more frontline. Generally, when you see something like Guardian, that means we're going to go into Locket. That means we're going to go into, shielding and playing the defensive side as opposed to being an aggressor with something like the Grasp of the Undying, going to the Frostfire Gauntlet, etc.
Yeah, what I really like noticing here from RJT Crew as well with the ghosts on the Ophelis, because you look over at the side of Valpo, right? There are just so many members that are looking to slow you down and just run you down, and I would not be surprised if obviously we see the Gale Force coming out as well, giving RJT so much sort of outplay potential, allowing him to stay just out of reach.
Yeah, and what I've noticed about a lot of ADCs in the current patches is that a lot of them are anti-Zeal users. Aphelios going from the Gale Force into something like a Bloodthirster, into the IE, just a very quick power spikes there, but not really building into attack speed. Does have some innately in his kit whenever he levels that W, or the second ability, because Aphelios has to be a little bit different. But nonetheless, very effective user and is able to stack a lot of damage here early on. We do have one set of the junglers Valpo's junglers starting on the bottom side of the map here and making his way buff to buff into the Gromp to get that quick level 3. We'll have to see if there's going to be something down here on the bottom side, because NIU definitely has priority here.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, they're just looking like they are in the prime position to be ganked here by Vector, and look at that, he might be making his way on down. A wardless place. It's spotted out, the slow comes through though, Abyssal Dive, not quite gonna find his mark, but there's that tongue slow we talked about. Might have to pop that ghost already, will indeed flash too. I love taxes in a tricky spot, flashing forward, but it's not gonna be enough. Beautifully done. They bait him in under the turn and take him out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would love to see from the junglers here, and that is just that aggressive movement. Like we said, buff to buff. Early level 3, get down there on the odd timer to be able to get that gank off. Seeing the priority is now that forces Broccolaya to come down here and try to cover through in the time it's going to take for Sona to get back.
Fast, he's going speedy. Steamroller tried to get into the back there with the Abyssal Dive, and so ultimately, RJT going to grab himself that kill, look for maybe a little bit more, but he'll go 1 for 1 now. So, at the very least, NIU gonna get something back for, but now Vector's looking for Nervous Lobster with a nice flash to make sure that he doesn't get slowed down, and ultimately, definitely gonna come out of that in a bit.
No, but that already shows where Victor is at sort of in this play, and that is just constantly be ganking lanes, constantly take advantage of what is pushing lanes from the side of NIU and try to create the advantages there. As Boostix, he's getting the Cho'Gath special right now, and that is just getting absurdly beat up early on. Tries to get the taunt on her tower, but, just one tower shot out of it. Here, as we kind of settle in, 1 for 1, like you said, here around the bottom side, you can see the effectiveness of Nerval Lobster on this Rumble here so far.
Or gonna find its mark, but coming out of it, they tried for that regang since they were able to get the flash out from Nerval Lobster, but he's a little too quick for him. He had a feeling something was coming, and he had the ward there, so he obviously saw that it was on their way. No 6th sense needed there, so it's gonna be good for now. And we're getting close to these level 6s coming online here. Level 5 already for Nerval Lobster. He's got M16 low, pretty low as well. So nice straights coming through, but once that equalizer is up, Kimo's gonna have to be careful. Has no mana as well, so that could be an opportunity.
Yeah, and you can just see how useful the Flame Spitter is. Yeah.
Oh, he pulls him back in. Is it gonna be enough though? Oh, the Ignite ticks him down. Tries to get something. Third doesn't do enough damage, but overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing from NIU.
No, that is the beauty of Rumble here, is able to just use the Electro Harpoon to kind of just create a little bit of damage, and it does zap away some of that MR early on in the slow, and then you can just walk in that Wave Splitter just until he overheats, getting down all that damage. So it's additionally a great poke lane, and it's a great all-in now, especially with level 6. Should have access to things like the Ultimate Hunter on his secondary runes. That's going to make that an easy fire and forget ultimate to use to control a lot of terrain around objectives, as we do have a Cloud Drake. Here's the first on the Rift, which is great because everybody hates Cloud Soul.
Yeah, honestly, I lied, man. I thought Nervous Lobster was gonna need the equalizer first to actually, realize that lane out there. I say, I know I'm a bit of a jokester, but he did not need it at all. Now he still has available, grabbing some of his magic pen boots, and Broccolaya here for round 2, baby. They're gonna be looking forward, and a nice flash coming through. Is it gonna be enough? Has to speed up. Close, but the vision of Empire is gonna force them to back off, and ultimately, they're not gonna find themselves.
Yeah, and that was just a little bit too early from RJT. Used the last of the Gravitum to try to get the setup CC for Broccolaya coming into the lane, but everything just kind of happened a little, off timing, but still nonetheless, get the flash out, especially around this objective. It's going to be incredibly important because it just creates that, target on Ordinal's back that says, kill me, I can't get away.
Yeah, exactly. Steamroller does still have that exhaust available, can utilize that if things are getting a little bit too dicey. But regardless, we'll have to wait and see, as it looks like for right now, Broccolike's not going to look punished just yet. On his way on top lane, maybe he's finally going to give Boostic some relief, who's been getting that Cho'Gath treatment for the past 7 minutes now. It's looking rough. I don't think I've seen him pass the midway mark in the lane here. As Vector's here to this bot lane. Oh, the pillar is just going to knock him back. Vision Empire gets dropped. They don't even need it, but Ordinal is going to go down. RJT getting some free fires off. Will at least go 1 for 1.
And RJT using his gun rotation so smart early on here, it's something we talk about, is the pain point of Aphelios, not only for the player, but for the team, and that is using the effectiveness of these really strong combinations. Right here, you saw he had the Crescendum and the Calibrum, which gives him a lot of ways to stack up, either with that turret or from hitting the Q on the sniper. Both of these things allow him to get more of those Crescendums stacked up, which do bonkers damage, as we did see there.
Like on his way, the block coming through. Naya gonna go ahead and push him back. Rupture will find the knockup. It's gonna be another question though. Unstoppable onslaught onto the turret. Need a little more damage though, but he can't quite get it. The scream comes through, and oh my god, Anya 08 is just destroying him right now.
Yeah, he got jumped. Sadly, tower dives. Towers do stack up damage there, as we saw. Didn't get the reset on it, so when he went back in, it just hits even harder and gives that kill over, and that feels bad if you are a boost stick, because you now have one less thing in the pocket here. They have another kill, able to keep you back to the lane, and he's just still stuck. Boost stick is going to be stuck standing up here with just that Negatron cloak until Anya decides otherwise at this point.
So can't really afford to back. You know, I need to protect those platings. Can't really afford to do much if he stays, except try and get a little bit of farm. You can see the farm differential coming through right around 20 CS behind. And I mean, you know, not much he's been able to do. He's been stuck under his turret for the last almost 9 minutes now. It's pretty unfortunate. We're still up and available, so I'm curious to see if Vector maybe goes to the bot lane gank and then heads on the top. But we're gonna have to wait and see, because he is on his way down. Control wards in that river push, and ultimately they will see him coming this time around. Are going to be able to back up. Alex is walking up a bit close there, and he might just get punished for it. If this will die, not quite going to find it. The flash does come through. Like you're on the way as well. Gravitum is available, but a very nice stun coming through from Orbital to make sure that they can't follow up.
Yeah, and this is the problem with the topside play earlier on, is not only does it feed over a kill, but this isn't where your strength is. You're in a tank versus tank matchup on the top side. You can call it real. Yes, you're down 20 CS, but you're still, you know, it's the beautiful thing. Even if you're 0-3 as a top laner, ADCs don't hurt you as bad. It's just the name of the game, my friends. But play towards the bottom side. Don't give up these dragons early on where it is your strength, as we are going to get a little bit of a 2v2. Equalizer gets dropped. Oh my god, did you see the damage on Vector?
Jesus, man. That's just from the equalizer alone. That actually hurts to watch. I mean, they almost said, you know, don't play for bot, play for mid instead. Play for me is what Nerva Lobster says. He's doing a lot of damage, and all he has is the Hextech Alternator and the boots, and he is already hitting hard.
Yeah, and in the amount of time that we just talked about Nerva Lobster, a fourth of the cooldown of that equalizer already gone. That is CDR beauty there, and it's, like I said, it's only going to get worse. It is pretty common to take that Ultimate Hunter runestone, and that puts him in a position where he gets to use these more and more often. That plus going into the Night Harvester route, getting more CDR per target that he hits, just creates a world where he has nearly infinite uptime on these spells. And as you can see, is already creating this huge pressure point here in the mid lane.
Definitely. So already more than halfway done from cooldown here. Is going to be up and available pretty damn soon. I'm still eyeing this Rift Herald rank, though. There is some vision on it for Valpo, so they will see it. Just expired actually as I speak. Broccolike is making a move on into this top laner. Just to see if he looks to start it up behind this mid lane instead for a ganker. Nerva Lobster just pushing out so much damage. Doesn't quite have the equalizer just yet, as Jakimbo's starting to hit hard, but was it a bait? It's a question. Nice flash to make sure that the Onslaught of Shadows doesn't hit him, and overall some trades coming through here.
And something that I failed to kind of mention before is that something that's beautiful about Valpo is that you have so much infinite stacking. Cho'Gath, stacks infinitely. Swain stacks infinitely on those crows, and then you have the souls out of the Senna. So this is really a timetable from the side of NIU to get something going, because they have really a bit of Rumble and a bit of Aphelios that scale into the late game, but other than that, they're going to find themselves up a creek without a paddle in what is going to be the river of chaos of Valpo.
So, speaking of chaos, they grab themselves at Rift Turtle as well. Gonna look to sow some chaos, perhaps in the mid lane or the bot. Surprisingly enough, the NIU been doing a pretty good job of just keeping these waves equal. Like, no, come on, man, don't hit him with that. Come on, Jakimbo, don't do it to him like that. Hits him with the quick mastery flex there. Noble Lobster though might be looking to go in, looking to return the favor. The ignite's ticking, and boom, down it goes. No ult from Ordinal can save you. That is called karma.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can only flex your mastery once the opponent is dead. If you do it beforehand, things can happen like that. Maybe just unbind that key here for the next few minutes, because that's just not where you want to go. RJT Fru does have the Severum and Crescendum. This is where they want to fight at. Red and white don't fight is the name of the game if you're Valpo here, as they continue to just hold this strength down in the bot lane with just about under a minute until the Drake spawns.
Here, Broccolite is in the bush waiting. Need to wait for this wave to push up a bit more, but it looks to me like Valpo have an idea that something might be aloft here. Not really going for those minutes, just to poke damage to come through. But Broccolite honestly has the both available. He has that ulti too. A lot of damage coming through to the power as well. It's not going to be enough though. Steamroller is so damn tanky. Turret shot not quite going to take out Broccolite. The shield's coming through. The stand united as well, just to be safe. And ultimately, almost 3 members for 2, and they don't get a single kill in the spot side. A lot of resources wasted.
Yeah, and Steamroller had great presence of mind there to go ahead and use the eat on Ordinal to stop any way for them to try to separate the two. And that led to a lot of the reason why these resources didn't work out. That and a really well-placed snare, as now Vector is going to try to even up the score of how many times the jungler is on the bot side. But based off of that, losing a lot of tempo, have to reset. If you're Vector, you can see him getting back out into the map now, which gives Valpo the chance to go ahead and say, hey, we'll stack up the second Drake. Is a mountain one, which means we should have a spicy soul nonetheless.
So speaking of spicy here, spicy killer Jakimbo might just be available. Has to come on a consistent class through. It's not going to be enough. No, now Jakimbo goes to find themselves that pick, and they'll look to move on to this dragon, which has to be canceled by Valpo. I will say Steamroller, right? He was so confident in himself that he didn't feel the need to pop that exhaust, so it is available. The TP coming through as well from Anya, looking to move on it, but it get canceled. And that probably the boosting. The equalizer gonna get dropped. Is it gonna be enough? Yes, it will. They'll go 1 for 1. Looking to run down Steamroller here as well. Broccolite get hot pursuit, but he's being slowed down. He's waiting for that stun. Come on, Steamroller, you gotta run, buddy. Doing a lot of damage. Might try and look for the kill. Has the shield, but it's not quite gonna be enough. Ordinal running for his life, but he's gonna get auto attacked to death by RJT. I saw that TP coming in, and it is Jakimbo for round 2. He's a little pissed about what happened last time, but it's not looking like he's gonna find anything in this top lane. However, Boostic needs to get out of there if he doesn't want to get chomped down on like a chicken nugget, and it's looking like it might just happen. Nom nom nom. Give him the food. Anya gonna grab himself that. Jakimbo still being a bit of a menace in the river, and overall, it's just a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And this is all happening like on the top side. Really, Boostic gives his life for the team fight there around the Drake, but it still equals up as like a net neutral at the end of it. Jakimbo able to use the TP to elongate this, and now we're back at square one. Valpo has priority over the Drake. Looks like they're going to be able to pick it up uncontested here. But as we can see, NIU very effective in these team fights. Noble Lobster now has that Night Harvester. Maybe trying to go again, has the Equalizer again. I feel like we're going to be saying that a lot this game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we don't even need to talk about the cooldown. It's just going to be up 24/7. Has that Night Harvester completed like you've mentioned, so that means the cooldown is just going to get lower and lower the more items it builds as well. Are going to drop that Rift Tail down. Anya was looking to get a little sneaky blue buff steal, but not going to get anything, unfortunately, for it. Rift Tail going to crash. Equalizer gets dropped as well. A little bit of damage coming out. Not going to grab themselves that turret, but regardless, we're in that phase where now everyone is looking to be everywhere.
Yeah, we are past the point of fun lane matchups and talk about. No, it's now going to be some death ball, and that's kind of what you want with the PowerPoint that is just a lot of beefy boys in the side of Valpo. Yes, Jakimbo does put out a bit of damage here on the Swain, but because of that stacking, it's just building up more health, more of an ability to be a frontline menace, and just create this space for Ordinal to really pop off. As you can see, still not yet on that mythic item. I'm not sure what they're going for here because of that extra longsword, but could just be going into the Kraken Slayer and Rage Blade, which has kind of become back in the meta again. No Spectral Sickle to be seen. Or what is it called again? Takes away vision. Umbral Glaive. There we go. Yeah. Spectral Sickle is the support item. That is very much so present this game.
Yeah, Umbral Glaive got stolen away by the Grays, right by the J4. Really just any kind of melee jungler feels like is RJT. Gonna get his flash forced out there by Steamroller. Broccolite is here though. They're gonna look to find the Steamroller. He's just gonna walk off. My man does not care. He can pop that shield. It's gonna be enough. The heal comes through from Ordinal. The stun with the ulti as well, but it's not gonna be enough. The Ophelio's ult gonna do so much damage to Broccolite. Just gonna run Ordinal down under his own turret. He does not give a damn.
The Infernum Moonlight Vigil is a phenomenal ultimate to use, and you saw it right there, just able to get the big pop on Steamroller and a lot of damage off Ordinal, so Broccolite can just finish that one off. And they trade now they have the bot tier 1, so both sides of the map, as you can see, pushing towards either side for the teams. The biggest thing right now is that you have Nyaya, who is uncontested right now, 2-0, sitting on 2 items, still has that tier that they're stacking up here for that Fimble winner. That's going to be hard to chew through for the side of NIU. Going to need the Lord Dominic's Regard, going to need that burn damage from the Equalizer to try to chew through the almost infinite health of the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, infinite health and just the amount of armor as well, right? Has that Frozen Heart, has that Sunfire as well. Look at that. Yeah, he's just holding the line. He's like, dude, you cannot go past me. And they tried to, but that might be there. They might Broccolite gonna get stunned up. The ulti coming out as well, but it's not gonna be enough. Down he goes. Boostic soon to follow, and Nervous Lobster has to watch it. Horror, never mind. You're not watching. You're live in the action. They'll find the Abyssal Dive. They'll find the damage. And if MF Jakimbo will find the double kill, dropping that second Herald down right away. They're looking to just push this big lane down.
Guys, Halloween was 2 days ago. We don't need to give jump scares to Nerval Lobster. Steamroller just came out of the fog of war with the Abyssal Dive to get that knock-up, and now just a huge pressure point here in mid. They should be able to play for this tier 2. Only 2 members to try to match that, and like we said, these are some tanky boys, seeing that RJT has opted for the Kraken Slayer. Not going to have the dash that's generally available with the Gale Force that has been the meta build, but has hit a pretty strong breakpoint for getting that call done. As you can see, he's also sitting on that last Whisper, a little bit closer to the Lord Dominic's Regard.
Yeah, RJT definitely feels like putting a lot of confidence in his team to make sure that they can keep everyone from Valpo off his back, right? We've been seeing, especially I Love Taxes, utilizing that ultimate to make sure that, you know, anyone gets stunned up that tries to get too close to him. With that Kraken Slayer, he definitely does need it, though, to crack through the armor that we talked about, that's coming out from Anya with the amount of armor that he's stacking. He's got to get through. And with Jakimbo as well, he's just going to be healing so much. Has that mask completed, as well as Steamroller, right? Has the Ice Fit. He's got that Warden's Mail. It's going to be tough to take him out.
Yeah, and there's already just so much armor coming through, like we've talked about. And the biggest thing for RJT is that he's going to need a bit more help. One thing that I would love to see is the Mikhail's Blessing come out from I Love Taxes. It's going to be necessary with the amount of CC that can be mitigated, not the knockups from the Abyssal Dive or the Rupture, but everything else to try to keep RJT free-firing in the fight, actually able to use that Ghost and space these guys out. They are fighting around the backside. They need to find a way into the pit because back here is just the death zone, as we can see with all the skill shots coming out.
Now's that time to put the plan into action, and this was not the move here. Lower Broccolite running, but he gets devoured, chomped down. The Equalizer not going to do too much. Their Steamroller is just running through the masses here. Needs that blast when they get it back over, and there's just nothing really they can do. No smite available. Gotta look for some kind of steal, but they don't really have any abilities to make it happen here. The stun's coming through. A lot of damage. Moonlight Vigil getting dropped. Will find themselves the steal, though. The Devourer coming through, but they are going to stun and ground him. Steamroller can't get out of there, but he does if you need to. He's too damn tanky. They're looking for the kill on RJT, and a Rupture will find it. Find themselves a double with Nerval's Lobster as well. And now I love taxes. There's two things that are certain, death and taxes. But never mind, I lied, because I love taxes getting out of that one for now using the speed up. And it's just barely going to be able to run away.
Maybe? Okay, yeah, now it's actually safe, but now it's Boostic who's the ire of the side. Oh no.
Chill, my brother. You're not that guy. I hate to say it. I know we hyped you up in the draft, but you're not that guy right now. Tried to find something with the damage going in here, but it's not going to be enough. They need to wait for Nerval's Lobster to be back online to make something happen. Equalizer will be available once he's up, but for now, while he's down, Valpo is going to take full advantage of it, grabbing themselves a turret and an inhibitor as well. And they know the timers are gone, so they're just going to look to back off.
And just wonderfully played by Valpo, and kind of the misplay from the side of NIU is your jungler died. Escape away from the dragon pronto, and try to make something happen elsewhere on the map. Get waves pushed out, make movements other ways around the map. This is Soul Point. This is an Ocean Soul. You cannot afford in the next 5 minutes to give up the game and not be in a position to sort of chase and be able to try to confront that effort. But that team fight right there is kind of helping break the back of NIU, now down 4K gold. Only 2 items complete here for RJT. He's going to need IE. And I don't know if you can generate 3,400 gold in 5 minutes unless we got, some Doinby hack plays coming out here from NIU.
I hope he invested in Bitcoin. He's got to get that money somehow. And honestly, if he did now, it wouldn't be looking, his portfolio wouldn't be looking too good. But I feel like, Rector, we're seeing kind of what we saw last time around when we had NIU on, right? Great individual performances coming out from RJT, from Broccolite, from Nerval's Lobster. But once they all come together, right? Once these team fights start happening, they just, they take little L's here and there, and that just starts to surmount until it's simply too big. And now Valpo is looking to take them out. If they can win one more team fight, I would imagine that Valpo is able to end the game here. They're a little bit of damage here on to Steamroller. Gonna come out, but that's about it. Has that gray health, just gonna heal that all back. And it's unfortunate they keep looking, they keep finding Steamroller, but they don't really have the tools to stop them from using that Abyssal Dive to escape.
Yeah, no, exactly. The Gravitum was present, but kind of used it early on to try to set up for the knockback, and that in turn, there's all your tools wasted. Steamroller able, like you said, to just dodge out. And you can see the map movements from Valpo, and that is that they're consistently not staying as like a 1-3-1. They're constantly rotating one of their solo laners off of the side into the mid and just kind of challenging the side of NIU, which is causing them to group up. We do see Boostic down there. And as soon as Boostic shows up in the bot lane, well, congratulations. That's when Jakembo is going to walk away and hit the reset. Jamiko, you know what?
Yeah.
We're going up on a Wednesday.
Bingo. It's all the same. But they are looking to maybe start up this. Oh, they not see the controller? Okay, maybe it was a bait. Maybe they were looking to bait him, and Steamroller is here with Ordinal as well. And it was a trap indeed. They're going to find themselves Ordinal with the equalizer as well. TP coming out here from Anya. He's there as well now to assist. Broccolite getting lower. That is going to be that first pick that they need, but they might not gain too much from a flash coming through from RJT. Nice ultimate as well from I Love Taxes. If they stay a bit too long, and they might pay the price. Moonlight Vigil stand united. They're using every single tool they've got in their belt, and it's not enough because Anya is too damn big. They're going to find themselves 3 more members of NIU. Was killing Ordinal worth it, Regdor? I'm not mathematically inclined, but I would say 3 for 1 is not worth it for NIU.
No, that math does indeed math. Yeah, you don't want to do that. And a lot of that was off the back of just RJT is on his own in the river. And Anya's like, oh, see an ADC, kill an ADC. Pretty simple thought process there. And they had to invest so much to try to get him out. A little bit of what feels like a mixed play from NIU, saying, hey, we can stand and fight. I've got red and blue. Really great ultimates there for these team fights to be able to stay in it. But instead just finds themselves losing the Baron in the meantime. And I don't even know how much health does Anya have at this point. It's got to be a high number. It's got to be at least 4,000 to 5,000, I would guess, in the ballpark here. Has gotten a number of those chomps down on champions as well as minions in the lane. And you can see right there, there's just so many of those little black like kind of check marks along it that just says you're not going to kill him anytime soon.
Yeah, and not only do you have to work through that, 4 or 5K health, The thorn mail looking to be built here as well, or at least a bramble vest there. That's so much armor that you have to chew through as well here if you are RJT or Block Lag. Lobster going to have a bit of an easier time, but still it is rough. Same sort of ordeal, right? If you look at Steamroller, has that ice dip, has the frozen art equalizer, going to get dropped here to force Valpo to back off, but that's such a huge ability out of the count. And once again, my bro thinks he's the main character. Brock Alike, you're not that dude. He goes down, and now the rest of your team is going to pay for your sins. They're going to find Isle of Taxes. A Rupture comes out, they're going to silence Blue Stick and take him out too. Moonlight Vigil going to get dropped by RJT, but he's going to get dropped into the dirt instead. Triple kill coming out from Anya. If he wasn't big before, he's pretty damn big now. Nervous Lobster, last man standing, running for his life, gonna dodge. Flash comes through from FC Kimbo, trying to find the sun. They'll finally find it, and that's gonna be the demise of Nervous Lobster. Death timers are too long, Regdor, and it's looking like Valpo is taking game number 1.
Yeah, the unofficial quadra kill for the Cho'Gath here at the end. And you know what? When you have a bunch of beefcakes, it's very hard to chew through, as NIU is finding out here. It's all over but the crying because the Nexus has exploded. Valpo, game number 1 in the books.
Yep, we're looking to maybe pad those KDs on Isle of Taxes, but did a bit too much damage there onto the Nexus. Down it goes, and it's really unfortunate, Rector, because once again, right, NIU had some really good showings early on individually, and we came to the team fights, and it just started going downhill, and then it was just too much.
Yeah, and some of that felt like compositional differences. Like we said, investing time in the top lane and actually turning over kill to Anya, find themselves at a point where they had somewhat equal footing, but got kind of picked out around objectives and weren't able to stand up to what was the team fight prowess of Valpo, but still very serviceable, which feels like the story for NIU. Is like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. They always have these flashes of brilliance. They always show these pretty interesting early games that they find advantages in, but you can see why Valpo hasn't dropped all but one match this entire year. And that's based off of the fact that they are drafting a very strong, cohesive unit. They've created so many different ways that they're able to play out these team fights, and they take their advantages and they push them as a team by these individual kind of ganks and skirmishes that we saw from NIU.
Yeah, really unfortunate because especially, right, I'm looking at Nervous Lobster, right? The Rumble mid pick kind of smurfed on it, dude. He was looking pretty crazy with it, but it just reached a point where, you know, there was just too much HP, too many tanks, too many beefcakes coming out from Valpo. He's like, guys, what the hell happened, man? They're not even building MR and I can't cut through them. Like, what's going on here? And it was really unfortunate to see, but it is only game 1, Rector, and already a pretty good showing here from NIU against the top team of the bracket. So NIU really just got to dig deep. They got to work together as a team a little bit better, I feel. And then I see a bright future for them, but it's going to be rough. So we're going to throw it to a quick break. And then when we're back, we'll get into draft for game number 2. Don't go anywhere.
Did you make the mug? All the choices you made, did you make them again?
Are you told aware even about your guy? Are you told aware even about your guy? Are you told aware even about your guy? Are you told aware even about your underground? your gat, 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 gat. Are you taught away even about your gat? Gat. Are you taught away even about your gat? Are you taught away even about your gat? Gat, 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 gat. Are you taught away even about your Are you taught away even about your gat? Gat, 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 gat. Are you taught away even about your gat?
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still here, Rector still here, and our teams are still here as we go into game number 2. Now listen, and the Valpo fans, they're going a little bit crazy right now. They're hungering for that quick 2-0 victory that Valpo is so well known for. But NIU ain't gonna give it over without a fight. It is gonna be a bit of an uphill battle, right? They gotta win back-to-back. Now that Valpo is taking the first game of the best-of-3 series. But Rector, I'm gonna just say it, man. From these individual showings that I've seen, right? I'm very confident that NIU can make something happen. But real quick, we got to touch on the schedule right now. Obviously, we have NIU going up against Valpo Esports, and then after this, we'll have yet another best-of-3 series. The night isn't even close to being over. We'll have Ottawa Gray going up against QU Golden Gales. It's not going to be the two of us casting it, but regardless, it's going to be one hell of a banger to watch.
No, absolutely. Like the Champions Division as well is just another whole nother level of wildness that we get to see. And going back to, game number 2, they did switch sides. We do have Valpo on the blue side of the map, which opens up a litany of more possibilities here for them, because we know, like, kind of a blue side favored meta, having access to whatever we think that top priority is and not allowing a whole lot of say about it other than trying to ban them all out, but it's kind of impossible. So adds to the grade of the hill that we're going to try to climb as NIU, but I'd love to see them continue to get these interesting matchups, especially for Nerval Lobster. We saw what he did on the Rumble of all things. Now, if you give him a counter matchup hand selected for that, and him and Broccolaya are able to kind of snowball the early game, there is a way that they just get Valpo off of their comfort and don't allow them to scale to the point that they had in the past, to where they had such a strong 5v5 team fight there around this like second and third Drake.
Yeah, and I think the great thing about Nerval as well is that he isn't, it's not that he popped off just because he was getting spam ganked over and over by Broccolaya. He was able to establish most of the leads that he got on his own in the 1v1 going up against MF Jakimo, right? I would say outplaying him, but he was making sure to, make sure that he was respecting him, especially when he saw that mastery flex. He was like, listen, no, my boy, you're not going to get away with that one.
Yeah, no, if my memory serves me here, both of the kills, he got solo. It was 2 solo bolos in the mid lane, and if that's not a showing of, prowess as an individual player, then I don't know really what is. As we do head into the draft, we're seeing some things kind of stick along the same lines here. Belveth and Udyr not going to be in the game. They're not being handed over to the side of NIU. While we go ahead and see about the same consistent bans here. Trundle added this time, being dropped for that Talia, because they just do not want to deal with more beefcakes in the game.
Yeah, definitely so. But obviously these jungle priority bans coming out is going to give Broccolaya, a bit of a harder time, right? He's got to pick something new. Maybe he goes. I'd be surprised if he goes for the Hecarim a second time around. It's not that it looked bad. It didn't feel like it was very effective. But at the same time, that does open up, mid lane, a lot of possibilities there. The Olaf already being locked in. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, the Olaf was locked in there, picked into, well, actually, I'm not exactly sure, as that is the Twitch locked in, and what's generally the top lane position. I don't know how I would feel about that one. But we got a little bit of wildness going on here.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious to see how that's gonna go into. I mean, is this the LCS lineup here? So are we getting Tom in the jungle too? What is going on here, man?
So I think the picks might be a little bit out of order here for the NIU side, but that is indeed what we have to expect to be a Twitch Lulu in the bot lane. It's not the cat and the rat, but it is the rat in purple, and that is one of the key lineups if you're going to have a strong 2v2 with the Twitch. The Lulu is probably one of the ones you want right there by your side. Get to see what the bottom lane of Valpo is going to be, but definitely a lot of early kill potential there.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, we saw in game number 1 when we saw that Rumble mid, and we were like, okay, how's this going to work out? It worked out great. So NIU seemed to have a knack for making these very strange picks work incredibly well, but we'll have to wait and see as we get into the second banning phase here. That Hecarim being taken off the board, as well 4 jungle bans coming out here from Valpo, giving the utmost respect over to Broccolaya.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a great feeling to have, is even in a loss, them saying, hey, I don't want to deal with this champion again. Hecarim,
I don't want to deal with you, honestly.
Yeah, right? Like, can I ban a player from the game? Can we make it a 4v5? Sadly, not the case. They are going to have to deal with Broccolaya as we get to see these final picks coming through. Okay, so there is a Misfortune and a Twitch in the game.
Oh,
So that's
Lord.
2 attack damage carries. Maybe an AP MF mid. Did get some buffs on that, make it rain with her like mini crit rework that has gotten rid of a lot of that. Still scales extremely well, like 4% AP equals more slow, plus the damage that is already flat over time. Those 2 things put together pretty great. And then there's a Zoe. So I don't know anymore. I know I'm supposed to be the big brain here, but the only thing I can think of is like Twitch jungle, Tom Kinch
I was
top.
gonna say, yeah. I have a feeling that might just be the angle. Listen, dude, I'm telling you, don't sleep on the like level 2 ambush gank possibility that can come out from a Twitch. Don't sleep on that, man, because if you do, it might come back to bite you. And if I'm looking who's in the mid lane here for Valpo, right, the Syndra as well, I'm seeing some opportunities. And honestly, NIU have nothing to lose, everything to gain. So why the hell not?
Yeah, no, I'm always a huge fan of, just go out there and get it going. Especially with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble into the ambush, there's a lot of good gank set up here, just like you said, to be that annoying Twitch that says, I'm going to lose 20 farm, but so is Jakembo. We're not going to let him play the game at all, especially new Syndra. If you still haven't heard about this Menace on the Rift, now get Splinters. It's like a little mini game. You got to download some DLCs like your Victor. And at every 20, it adds something to her abilities. The Dark Sphere gets an additional charge. The W gets more damage added for true damage. E gets the stun plus a slow afterwards. And then eventually when you get up to 100, the R, that Unleash Power, has a 15% max health execute. That is disgusting.
Yeah, that's a bit nasty. Let's put it that way. That is a bit nasty. I will say though, right there, at the very least, the one saving grace. I'm a man. I like a little bit of normality sprinkled here in my league games, and I'm looking at the Maokai, a very tried, true, and trusted pick that we've seen come out so incredibly much here in this jungle. It's always felt like whoever grabs the tree is winning.
Yeah, and that is the scary part here. Is you also have the Olaf. I'm not sure specifically how the Olaf Tom Kinch matchup works out, but I'm going to make the assumption that once Olaf gets to level 6, Tom Kinch has a very high likelihood of getting all in there. Can't stop the Abyssal Dive, but throw in a Maokai, you're not getting away. I have been spamming Maokai top, Maokai jungle whenever I get the chance, and that Twisted Advance and the Bramble Smash is just the equivalent of like 3 seconds of CC that you're just not allowed to escape from. There's no canceling it. There's no stopping it. It is Thanos. It will come for you.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing to point out though, Valpo, right? Game number 1, Anya was looking fierce, was looking big, was looking gargantuan, was looking quite robust. This time around though, they are going to have Anya take the back seat, and instead they're putting Dreadful in. A little bit of a substitution coming through on the Olaf. So the question really is, can Dreadful fill the shoes that he needs to? Because those are some like size 13s. I'm not gonna lie, he's got a lot to work up to.
Hey, you know what they say? It's not the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog. And if you're picking Olaf, you're not picking Olaf to first time it. You're not picking Olaf because you think it's an okay matchup. Olaf top is definitely one that you only pick into favored lanes and lanes that you know that you can have kill pressure into. Because Olaf both needs 1, a way to get onto the target and stick on them, especially in the Ragnarok, and 2, needs to be turboing into the game. If he gets stonewalled by this Tom Kinch, Dreadful's in a position where there's not a whole lot of ways to play it out. You've got the Wild Growth, you've got the Abyssal Dive, you've got a lot of tools to stop Olaf from getting on the target and be able to keep that Ragnarok active. But that's where the Maokai has to be the enabler. So I don't know. Dreadful, he's got a lot to show here in this game coming up, because that is going to be one of the deciding factors, is how well he's able to snowball the top side like Anya did in game 1.
Yeah, definitely. So I will say, looking at that bot side, I do like the support coming out a lot more with the Seraphine, right? Because I feel like, game 1, when you are facing that Tom Kinch, if you don't have sort of a tool to shut down that Abyssal Dive, nothing really feels like it's ever going to work out, because we kept seeing, right, Barkalaya comes down to the bot lane, but they just can't catch that Tom Kinch. They didn't really have the tools, it felt like, to stop him from utilizing it. This time around, though, you've got that beat drop, especially if you can time it correctly. Make sure to stop that Abyssal Dive in its tracks, get that damage out that you need, and look to shut him down. And honestly, if anyone can do it, it's Valpo.
No, absolutely. And the secondary part to that is that Senna Seraphine is a very oppressive lane because of not only all the poke coming out, but because the synergy of the beat drop and the Q on Senna that creates a slow that you then can get a single cast root off of as well. So there's a ton of just CC layering and combinations that you can do down there, especially with Seraphine having access to the gold. That income as a farming laner puts her in a position where, at the end, oh wait, they both have support items.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication, or maybe that's the play. Either everyone's gonna be broke in this bot lane, or everyone's gonna be rich. We'll have to wait and see. You gotta make those money moves, man. You gotta take risks.
Yeah, I just don't. That's not the move. I think I saw a recall starting to come through. Maybe just now realizing it and saying, well, I guess we have to play out the first 3 or 4 levels with 2 support items, and then I'll recall and grab something real. This could be a boon for the side of NIU here, because neither of them, I think, is after the second wave. Ordinal will start to receive reduced gold and XP because of the minion farming rule. So this could actually help a lot with Misfortune. Wait, it's Zoe support as well. What
the hell is going on here, man? What is this?
They did pick an LCS order. We weren't smart enough to realize that we were going to get Machine Gun Lulu. Maybe it is the Summonari, but who knows?
My God.
Okay, so Zoe support is a thing to a small degree because she now can get her items out of the balloons on minions if allies proc it as well. As long as she's within 1,200 units, she gets that summoner spell. So she will have access to more of those to kind of switch things up here in the early game. That's super cool. But also has the Sleepy Trouble Bubble as setup. As we all know, if you go to sleep and you get bullet times, you do not wake up during it. It's a really weird interaction. So I could see some things going on here. We'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, it's another interesting pick coming through. I mean, the trade potential coming through as well. The PTA Misfortune, right? Something that you do not want to mess with. Especially those double ups. If you get hit by those, you're in for a bad time. But it just feels like, once again, we're going to be seeing what we saw last time. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, here it is. Level 2, that ambush gank might be coming through from Brock Goliath. They can make something happen here. Camera going to pan top. We're back, though, but not the... Normally, you do it mid lane. That's kind of usually where you place it, but it just feels like no lanes were in any position to make something happen. The Drowsy coming through on Ordinal. So much damage already coming through, but not quite enough to find the kill.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of the press the attack. Generally, we see her go more towards the lethal tempo now for the team fight. For these early short trades, you can see how much damage it is. And there's the ambush in the mid lane you wanted to see.
Yeah, finally, there it is. A lot of damage already coming through just with the poison stacks themselves here. As Jakimbo now has to stay under that turret at the top of those pots as well to mitigate some of that damage coming through. But just look at that. It was at like half HP before, now down to about a quarter, and now Nervous Lobster. I mean, he just dictates how the lane is going to go.
Yeah, he does get to bully a lot on this Lulu. Lulu has seen her days as a mid laner, as a solo laner. A little bit different at time. Was nerfed a bit back on patch 12-17, 12-18. Or sorry, 16-17. It kind of threw her out of the support meta. But still incredibly playable. We'll have to see what builds everybody and their mother goes for here. Could we get an AP Twitch? Could we get an AD Lulu? Who knows what's going to happen, because this is a throwback and a half of a draft.
Yeah, this is anything goes at this point, especially here for NIU, right? They can do whatever the hell they want. And now with the back coming through from Ordinal, there we go. We do see the ring getting grabbed. So it wasn't some kind of 300 IQ double support item coming out. It is just going to be your standard, just mistakenly buying it. So he's going to have that back in the lane, get that gold back up.
Yeah, that is a lot here. I mean, you see, Jakimbo gets a really bad back timer, just has the Sapphire Crystal and a Dark Seal. Not the ideal recall that you want. And up here on top side, so far, Boostic able to keep up in CS, just a little bit short, but not being pushed and pressured out of the lane thus far. And this is something we talked about in the draft. If Boostic's able to stonewall Dreadful, is not able to accelerate in this matchup, he's in a really, really good spot moving forward here with even what looks like a small XP differential.
Nope, definitely. So not going to be receiving that Cho'Gath treatment that he got in the last game here. It's going to look to be a little more proactive in this lane, a little more dominant. But if Vector has anything to say about it, they won't happen. You're on a toe. Abyssal Dive as well. not close enough to get themselves that stun to cancel it, so he is going to be okay. That's just pretty reminiscent of what we've been seeing every time the Tom catches in lane. Is Broccolike is here once again, but the aggression coming to NIU might spook him off. Ordinal does stay a bit far forward, but Broccolike just can't find anything, unfortunately. Second time around this feels very reminiscent of game 1 Regdor. Broccolike constantly coming bot and just not really getting anything for it.
Yeah, no, that is indeed seeming to be the play. Okay, we do have a Dark Seal on Broccolike, though. Okay, we're one step closer to the dream. It is possible.
He's back, trying to find something more, but the nice beat drop coming through. A lot of damage as well. Overall, I mean, you got some low HP bars, but you didn't force any summoners, and you didn't really get too much of a push, so is it really worth it? I don't really know.
You know what? It's driving mental damage though, and it's gonna have to force the bot side
He's coming back, dude.
Yes.
He's coming back. Round 3 or round 4, I don't know which one it is. Gonna drop the poison cast to get the slow, but he's gonna get rooted. Though a lot of damage coming through. RGT gonna step up, but the exhaust comes through, gonna cleanse that. Look to back off. Out of taxes, getting closer. One more auto attack should seal the deal. Will the poison tick down? It's not looking too likely. And once again, it should look just get nicely done. The flash forward with the E as well. The double kill coming through. I spoke too soon. 4th or 5th time is the charm as they grab themselves a double kill here for Broccolike. Not gonna get those stacks on the crown, unfortunately. Vector on his way into the spot lane here, but ultimately he'll make something happen.
It's a blasting one. This is what I'm talking about. AP Twitch. That's what I'm always talking about here. Does lose the stacks on the Dark Seal, but who cares? It's AP Twitch. And you can see Broccolike knows the name of the game. Don't farm, farm champions. Is down incredibly in this matchup, but only a tier on Vector.
Oh, no.
A build we don't usually see is Jakimbo may be in trouble.
Yeah, just a little bit too close to that turret. Stick was here as well, but yeah, it's like you said, right? You're 20 CS down, but the ideal world, you know, Broccolike's gonna be 20 kills up champion-wise, and that's 300 gold a pop. That makes up for all the lost farm in the world.
Yeah, this is just what you call like diagonal League of Legends. We're not reading left to right like a normal book or right to left if you're a manga fan, as you might be going to gray screen here as the...
Ooh, so close. Not quite gonna find a wild growth. Just a bit too much there. Emo almost finding a killer, but not quite gonna be enough. No snacks for you. Stacks. Oh my god, I'm having a stroke. No stacks for Jakimo this time around.
No snacks on stacks here. As I love taxes, I almost said I love snacks. Misses that. I love snacks here. This game is just too wild for both of us. We're losing our minds. But you can see the aggression of Valpo's bot lane. All of this push starting to make a bit of a difference now that we have access to that double ant comb on Ordinal. Is going to make up a little bit of a difference here. Once they really get that lost chapter, that's when mana no longer really becomes a concern. They are able to drop that root.
A lot of damage coming through here, though. He drop isn't going to find that second one. Didn't have it empowered. Ultimately, those trades still coming through. I love Taxes doing quite a bit of damage with just that simple amplifying tone, hitting pretty damn hard. I will say both objectives are still up at the moment, but look at that. Vector is deep in enemy territory right now. He's deep in that jungle, getting some vision down, pivoting towards this drag. Most likely going to look to start it up as no one's really going to be there, as finally Broccolike has opted to go to his jungle and farm a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? He's decided he needs to at least get level 6. Got to get to that spray and pray to be able to get some of the damage down. That enhanced auto attack range. All those fun things are going to enable him to get these kills. But it might be Jakimbo once again.
He's back. Listen, you get XP for champion kills as well, Regdor, and they're looking to find exactly that. Scout of the week, though. So too much damage. First strike not going to be enough to take out Broccolike. Dude, do not stay to farm the minions, dude. Come on, Broccolike. Listen, man, I know you take gambles. That is not the one to take. He's going to stay alive, though. It was very close. They don't get the kill. And Valpo's going to grab themselves this dragon here. And unfortunately, Broccolike not going to hit level 6.
You know, it happens, but this might actually be the kill.
Oh, down he goes. No wild growth gonna save you this time around. The balls get delivered from Jakimo. I'm never gonna say that again. And he's gonna find himself the kill.
So big ups to Vector in this matchup, because a lot of people get stuck in the game plan, right? If you watch your average solo queue game, you get yourself a Twitch jungle in it. The general sense is that I need to try to match the ganks. I need to try to stop this Twitch from snowballing. But instead, Vector's just said, hey guys, figure it out. I don't know what you do, but just don't die to him. And I'm going to get this huge farm lead. I'm going to get these neutral objectives. And you continue to watch this disparity, almost sitting at twice. Oh, but that's a beautiful Sleepy Trouble bubble.
That is pretty damn nice, but Ornal is going to be there. Nice encore, but it's going to be cleansed away. Nice blocks coming through. Ultimately, not going to find anything for it. But yeah, like you said, right, Vector's just like, listen, just don't die, just ward it out, make sure that you got what you got, and already Brock-alike. He's level 6, he's here again. This guy's a menace, dude. He's not giving anyone a break, getting up close to him, has that spray and pray available, utilizing with the bullet time as well. Drowsy, Palsar goes in, not quite gonna find the mark. Ordinal just barely gonna stay alive. The heals coming through as well from the piercing darkness, gonna keep him alive and in the fight, but be coming down into the spot lane here. MF Jakimbo's here, and he wants some kills, but it's not looking like he's gonna find anything. Top lane is just, well, it's just top lane.
Yes, somehow top lane being the quietest, that is a boon if you are an NIU fan, because Boostic definitely was the friend of a lot of damage here as Isle of Taxes has to flash. Well,
So close.
hey, you know what? If you're Jakimbo right now, how annoyed are you that so many people keep on getting away? He's like, I can't get to 100 splinters fast enough. I think should around this point in the game have that first unlock, have 2 Dark Sphere charges instead of 1. I have to keep a check out on where we're at splinters wise. Try to get you guys the best idea of the capabilities of this Syndra as the game moves along.
Yeah, Jakeem will probably like, listen, is this first strike working? Is this thing working? I'm not getting these kills I'm looking to get here, but we're looking to get some kills in this mid lane here. Vector getting lower and lower, gonna drop the ult here. Brock-alike getting stunned. Oh, where did he just go? He is gone, and so is Boostic. If you can't find a way to get on out of here, has a missile dive available. No, he doesn't. Down he goes, a double kill going into the hands of Dreadful. Finally, he gets to see some action, and he gets some gold as well.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you don't want. You don't want a bounty on Dreadful. You don't want him ahead, as Isle of Taxes is going to take a bit of damage, but should be fine.
Lobster 2 has to pop that wild growth once again, needs to be safe, doesn't want to go down. Rift Herald gonna get dropped in the mid lane, looking to take out this turret, and it crashes. Gonna get the turret as well. Will they get the second crash? That's the question. It's looking pretty damn likely because Normal Lobster really just can't do too much. Has to flash forward just to be safe. So they are gonna get that secondary crash to come in as well. Nothing they can do about it.
No, this is where the composition starts to see some holes in its armor. Lulu not as strong of a laner as they once were, as well as Brock-alike not being able to find lethal, as Crew does not know they are on vision. But they don't know that the rat's behind them. They don't know that the rat's behind them.
They don't indeed. The bait coming through bullet time gets dropped on his shadow, though. It's going to find the pick, and the play's over before it begins. Spray and pray gets dropped. Battlestar hurts. Can they find them? Yes, they will. Down goes one. Will the poison tick is the question. It's looking lower and lower and lower, but I don't think he'll quite find a damage steamroller. Gonna stay alive. Isle of Taxes as well, almost going down.
Yeah, this is getting sketchier and sketchier, but Brock-alike has not been able to close the gap. That's the biggest thing, is you can see sitting on not a whole lot of gold. Needs to get a Gnasher's Tooth. With the AP build, it's all about like the 3rd and 4th item, generally getting the Rabadon's Death Cap, Gnasher's Tooth, and there's one more fun thing along the lines there until they get on their actual mythic, which is usually Crown of the Shattered Queen as one of the options, or maybe that Rift Maker to have that just Omni Vamp in the kit. But either way, what I just said was like 10k worth of gold. He ain't got it right now. He did not invest in any 401ks, and now he's just trying to take out some small payday loans to try to get to something.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of interest to pay that one back here, as Victor is finally showing himself. Finally, you know, the gank finally comes out here in this bot lane for Valpo. They're like, where's our jungler at? We don't have a jungle, guys. You know, we're constantly getting spam ganked. Victor's like, I don't care, bro. I got things to do. I got places to be, including this dragon that is going to be up in 5 seconds. And Brock-alike is in that top side of the jungle, farming things up here. Meanwhile, the Nervous Lobster might have to pop that wild growth once again. He knows it. He does. Exhaust comes out as well. He's going to stay alive. Dreadful looking for a pick here onto Boostic. Brock-alike's here as well. Will they have the damage? Is the question. Undertow does land, and it's a lot of damage coming through with Dreadful. Looking to just run through them. Finds one. Finds two. Looking to find 3 here as well. Boostic running for his life. Undertow lands again and give 3 kills to Dreadful. It seems pretty damn dreadful for NIU right now as well.
Yeah, the solo queue in me says /FF 5-0 on Dreadful here. This is what we said about the Olaf. If he has a way to close the gap, if he can keep on top of his enemies, then it's just seamless.
What was that? Where did he go, Regdor? Where did he go?
He went to the gray screen. That is a level 11 Syndra here with the first strike proc and Luden's. Like 8 stacks on the Darksteel. You can't, there's no counterplay to that, ladies and gentlemen. You just go to gray screen. You have to watch out. Is now RJT feeling like he knows what's going on here, but I don't think this is where he wants to be either.
Yeah, I was about to say, listen, this blue does not belong to you, RJT. Brock likes you. They don't have to say about it. They're going to grab it, but not quite going to find it. Ultimately, the flash comes out from Evan, but they will get the blue buff, so hey, it's the little things. It's the little victories, but Brock needs to leave right now. Scatter the weak lands. Wow, that, I mean, there really is no counterplay to it. You can't do anything about it.
I think Jakimbo heard us here on the cast and said that
No, I love taxes. What are you doing there, man? Down he goes as well. Unfortunately, MF Jakimbo can't get 12 stacks on that crown, but those stacks are gonna go over into the hands of Ordinal. Grabbed himself too, and I said that the blue buff wasn't theirs. I actually meant the whole map.
Yeah, that whole quadrant's not theirs. Now, if you look at the mini-map, there's a whole lot of death, like crossbones there from the sad story of NIU here. It's their composition, like we said, had to get ahead, had to make some things happen. You need to accelerate the Twitch in the jungle with kills, vice farming. So you can see that CS differential continues to be right around that 30 mark. But he's gonna go again.
He's back, baby. Round 10, spray and pray, doing a lot of damage. But Jakimbo's here. Dude, what? What? Stop this. This is not legal. This cannot be legal in any of the 50 states of America right now, because that was just disgusting.
This is like the copy pasta where it's like, I don't think Faker's cheating, but somebody should check his computer. Jakimbo! No! Oh my gosh, this is just so unfair. They're not going to be able to defend this bot tier 1. They're going to have to walk away with their lives. That is the reward here as they do hit a Sleepy Trouble bubble, but he's going to...
That was too damn close, man. I love taxes. Playing just the most nice edge game I've ever... Dude, okay, please, I love taxes. Just leave, man. Just leave. It's not worth it. You're not going to get anything here. Just barely escaping once again with a sliver of HP. Brock, dude, no, stop it, man. Turn around, turn back. Jakimbo's waiting in the bush. They don't know that, though. They don't have vision. And Jakimbo's waiting for the moment to get on over. Scatter the Weak is going to find 2 stuns here. Steamroller on his way as well. The flash coming through, though. So Brock going to stay alive for now. Encore going to find 2 members. Going to find 2 kills as well. The bullet time won't even find Steamroller. And that's going to be a 2-0 for Valpo.
And Valpo are just undeterred. They say push until we die. Actually, as I say that, they hit some resets. I was actually halfway expecting Jakimbo to throw the Gromp at the enemy team. He chose not to. Very kind of him here, as they are going to hit these resets.
Considerate.
Yeah. Has 2 items, has that Shadow Flame. I wish we knew the Splinters. It's got to be a big number at this point. It has to be getting closer and closer to that execute. And you could just see all the carries, they all have gold bounties. They are all at least an item or close to an item and a half ahead of their counterparts. And this means that it's very hard for them to stand up at all. And you can see the top side here just getting pushed in. Dreadful and Vector are the 2 that kind of want to be around one another, while the other 3 are just able to roam. And when you have these 2 separate death balls, you're just kind of in a bad place.
Yeah, definitely. So he's just sending the rest of the squad up into the top lane to try and find something. Riptail gets dropped as well. He's currently asleep, needs to wake up. Never mind, Dreadful's here to finish the task. Gonna find himself 1. He's CC immune, baby. They're gonna look to find 2, and Isle of Taxes the flash to escape, though. He's not gonna go down, buying a lot of time. They just don't have the damage, though. Blue Stick is tanky, but doesn't hit hard enough. You know who does, though? Steamroller finds 1. Dreadful's gonna find a 2nd, looking for a 3rd, but the turret does a little bit too much damage. How is this man alive? This should not be legal. The shield comes through. Nerval Lobster sees a pick. He wants it so badly. He sidesteps the beat drop. Gonna stay alive. Doesn't sidestep the stun. So incredibly low. Is he gonna burn to death? No, he won't. Has the shield. Gonna stay alive. Just leave, bro, please. He doesn't, though. And an Ordinal is gonna pick up the kill. And now RJT will pay the price of his sins. Down he goes. At least they get Ordinal and Vector. That's something. They get 2. At least they get 2. That was the plan all along. Sacrifice all your members and get 2 kills.
Yeah, this is a way. They definitely tried to juggle aggro pretty efficiently there on the top side. They were doing like literal gatekeep girl bossing there with Ordinal on the backside saying, no, you're not allowed to leave your tier 2. You're going to have to figure it out. They found a way back to base. Sadly, it was via the gray screen. You got to think at this point it's all kind of over except for the Baron being taken down because it's not up yet. We've got about 5 seconds on that with the Mountain Drake getting shown up here shortly thereafter.
Listen, man, the Triple Gs, they gatekeep that top lane. Dreadful gaslights them into thinking they can get the kill, and then the girl boss collapse on them. At least NIU gets a little bit of something out of it, right? Those 2 picks. Oh my God. Yeah, good. I don't even need to say anything to that. We pretty much just expected that one to happen. My boy just gets blown to bits. Goodbye, I love taxes. It was nice knowing you. At least he won't have to pay his taxes anymore. Jakimbo looking for his next victim, and it's looking like it's going to be Nervous Lobster. Down he goes. Wild Growth is up, but that's not going to be enough. He's running for his life. He's sidestepping. He's doing his damnedest. Oh, down goes Airy Diff. Nicely done. Find themselves a double. Broccolite, please leave, dude. You can't do anything here. I know you want your hero moment, but this is not it. Gets spotted out by the controller. Now they know he's here. Spray and pray activated, though. The ult coming out from Vector keeps him locked down, and they find yet another kill. Nothing he can do there, and it's up to RJT and I Love Taxes to hold the base now from Dreadful, who's looking to push down this turret.
And Dreadful has access to the Ragnarok, so these Sleepy Trouble bubbles may not mean that much, but it's a 1v3, and I still think Dreadful can win.
I was about to say, I'm not too worried for Dreadful. I'm not going to lie, gets devoured. Immune though, and now he's on top of I Love Tax. The Daunic Shadow going to give him a shield that he needs as well to survive. And he's going to be able to walk on out of that one like it's nothing. RJT cleansing to escape. The balls get delivered, not going to find the kill though. They will find the turret. Nervous Lobster is here. There's just not too much really he can do. Doesn't have that Wild Growth available. Devour isn't available for Boostic as well. And they have to watch as the rest of Valpo marches into their base. They grab themselves the inhibitor. And they're gonna, respectfully, they're gonna back off. And I like that. Not gonna risk anything.
Yeah, didn't have they have a wave coming in, but didn't really have the wave. But they know this is the perfect time. We just go ahead and go to Baron. What are you gonna do? Show up? Like that's you're not allowed to do that. Look, the unleashed power almost halfway back, but that is still 3 items strong. 10 pages in the book of the Magi here for Jakimbo, and he just takes up so much space. It's like he's not talking real loud, but what he's saying's real loud. Right now, with these abilities thus far, it's just really hard for NIU to go anywhere near him.
Yeah, Baron absolutely shredded. Down it goes into the hands of Valpo, and the night is looking dark for NIU. Any NIU fans in the chat, they need your support. Find some kind of emote to spam for them, man, because it's not looking good for them right now. 23-5, right? The goal differential, 15K, is absolutely huge. The dragon stacking is stacked up against them as well. 3 minutes until the Mountain Soul goes into Valpo's hands, if they have anything to say about it. Rektor, I'm gonna ask you the dreaded question, man. Is there any kind of angle, vector, or any kind of probability NIU can stay in this game? As I say that, I Love Taxes nearly gets annihilated. There's a flash before the Encore's gonna find him, and down he goes. I think I have my answer, Ekdor. Broccolite gonna get hit with a stun, and Jakimbo just says hi, goodbye, good night. Down he goes. Nervous Lobster as well, getting dropped, a triple kill, looking for the quad. Can he find it? RJT has that strut. Is gonna be able to escape. No, he will not. Scatter the weak, scatter the dead. The quadra kill, and all that's left is Boostic, who's under the turret, and the collapse is coming. Dun 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 dun. Abyssal dive comes through.
Oh no!
What's wrong with you? X9, report Ordinal. Get this man to prison. He steals the Penta, but at the very least, the ace does come through for Valpo.
Ordinal, why? Why do this? And I Love Taxes. No.
He steals it again. He could have at least given him some kind of unofficial penta, but Ordinal steals it again. They steal 2 of the turrets. They're going to pad these KDs as well, finding 2 more members. Give them the sad B and give them the L for defeat. Here, RJT flashes back, and the Nexus goes down, and with that, Valpo just keep up the 2-0 streak and grab themselves game number 2 and grab themselves this series.
Yeah, and Valpo, it's no longer V is for victory. V is for Valpo here with just an amazingly strong game number 2. Their draft set it up. They were not tricked by the wily Broccolite, who's just ganking every lane. I would love to get the statistic of how long he spent in his jungle versus how long he spent in a lane, because I feel like he played in a lane more than the jungle, but nonetheless, you could see the team fight prowess and the cerebral drafting ability of Valpo that has made them number 1, dropping only 1 match, remaining undefeated here in the Emergent Division.
Yeah, and such a dominant showing as well, man. Like, that was it was a bit of a Jakimbo diff. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie, man. This time around, you know, it feels like they put they put Jakimbo on such a strong pick, and he's able to just absolutely perform with it. Narvel's Lobsters, it feels like this time around, the Lulu just wasn't really the call. I feel like they didn't give him the ability that he was kind of looking for to, you know, just take over the game, because I feel like he could have done it if he had the right tools for the job, but didn't really feel like it this time around.
No, but hey, big ups to NIU saying, you know what, if we're going to go out, we're going to go out in style with a little asymmetrical draft. We love to see it and love to see him continue to grow, because it has been a pleasure, you know, over these past 5 weeks thus far, watching the adaptation and the growth in these players. And that's what we're all here for, right? You can't win them all, but you can always grow as an individual. So big ups to NIU for taking it on the chin and keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah, definitely so. And putting on one hell of a spectacle while doing it right. They didn't just, you know, do some boring like meta slave draft, right? They were like, listen, man, we're gonna get interesting with it. And honestly, it was interesting is a bit of an understatement, but yeah, unfortunately, they are gonna take the L, gracefully so, though, nicely done regardless. And with that, that's gonna be it for the two of us here as we take a quick break, and then when we're back, or when the stream is back, when the next casters are back, I don't really know how to phrase it. When someone else is back that isn't us, it'll be the second series. So we're going to say bye for right now and go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. There's still plenty of League of Legends action coming.
What if I go stronger? What if I get higher? What if I start doing things I know I will regret? I will make my own way, I will not surrender. I will do my best until I get put under. What if I go stronger? 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 What if I go stronger?
must be you and I. It's got me thinking about us more as these bright lights, they put me in a daze. And I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes. Bright lights, they put me in a daze. And I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes. Bright lights, they put me in a daze. And I can't stop but think about the way that you move around up and down on that stage. It's your future vibes.
Welcome back, everybody, to some more NECC League of Legends action. I'm Paladino here with you guys all know him, fantastic Orbital. Orbital, how are you doing today?
Doing okay, ready to go, ready for this series to kick off and hopefully see some good matches.
Yeah, absolutely. We should have a good one for you today. It's you, Ottawa Gray, facing off against the Golden Gales. We'll have the standings up here in just a little bit in the Queen's University Ontario division. Once again, a very exciting one. I'm ready to go whenever we can. We've got draft going on outside. We should have the draft in client very, very shortly. Here's your standings for Champions Ontario. You see the Golden Gales up there, tied for first at 5-1. You Ottawa Gray a little bit further down in sixth with 2-4, but not out of it yet. So still got a good chance in the playoffs. And with playoffs coming up soon, now's the time that you really want to get hot and start going on a run.
Yeah, I do believe this is the top 8 make it, and because UTM did unfortunately have to drop out, all teams will make it. It's really about placement and about seeding right now, as there's only about 2 more weeks left in the season, including this one. So taking a look at the standings, I mean, the highest that you could take a look and get is about 4th place with a 4-4 record, but again, Golden Gales, very difficult to play against. We do go ahead and take a look at the U Ottawa roster, though, and it's going to be Alex 5 Pop, Close One, Truch, and Dark Utopia. So decent set of players coming out here. Again, they have been struggling a little bit recently to kind of find their synergy, but here is to hoping that they can find it tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Up next, you will see the the Golden Gales roster. Tank Sis in the top lane, Xavier Fujiwara in the jungle, Rager on board in the mid lane, and rounding out in the bot lane, Wilson and Makalaka there in the bot lane. Should be a good one. I always like to point out the age levels of everyone on the roster, and we saw you Ottawa Gray pretty decent spread. We saw some graduate students there in the mid lane and the support, and some freshmen as well. So some familiar faces on their roster, as well as some newcomers, and then lots of upperclassmen, with the exception of Makalaka on the side of Golden Gales. So we already saw the Golden Gales holding steady with the number 1 spot, and then you Ottawa Gray in 6th place. But like you mentioned, they will all make the playoffs, so it's just about that really important seeding. Try and win these next 2 games, even if you can only get up to 4th. That way helps your position in trying to make a deep run in the playoffs, even if you had a rocky start at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's played in any competitive setting, whether it be regular sports, esports, or any competitive situations, such as, if you're playing chess or anything of the like, right? You understand the difference with 8 teams moving onwards, or top 8 or anything. The difference between 4th and 6th, right? There is a heavy difference between 4th and 6th. 4th means you get to play off against maybe 5th seed, right? 6th means you're possibly playing up against 2nd or 3rd, depending on how things break down. So either way, it's a huge jump again. And also for you, Ottawa, I want to see them have a bit of synergy. With the current patches coming up, we are going to see a big shift in the preseason, and in that moment, you want to see them be able to really hard lock themselves into a style, right? And yes, preseason tends to create a bit of chaos, which is why I want to see them. They have a very deep roster, by the way. You Ottawa Gray have submitted, I believe, a total of 10 people for their roster, and I want to see them lock down a specific 5 that they're going to run through. They've been playing through all of them throughout the previous matches. So as we get underway with this draft, I mean, I'm hoping to see some fantastic stuff.
Yeah, me too. And I think you bring up a really good point. I mean, preseason is always going to shake things up just a little bit, but it's really, really crucial, especially at this point, this late in the year. You find your core 5 and you find the style that you want to play. Even with preseason changing things up, we know this preseason is going to be a lot of differences in regards to tanks. We know there's a lot of new tank mythics coming out and some different changes, but it's important to recognize kind of how you want to play the game. And build into that as you go into the postseason. So we will see the Golden Gales on blue side this game. They're going to ban away the Swain, Yumi, and the Lux, as you Ottawa Gray bans out Hecarim, Caitlyn, and the Silas. For your first couple picks, we'll have Irelia picked up in the top lane for Tank Sis, and then Aatrox and Graves for you Ottawa Gray.
Yeah, and this is a deep focus, and once again, this is picked in order of their roles. So the Belveth was actually blind picked on the side of Golden Gales, and then taking a look at the composition, they've rounded out a very nice kind of all-in composition, right? You're taking a look at the Aurelia, the Rumble, the Belveth, all 3 of these champions want to go in. And the likes on the other side for you, Ottawa, it's a lot more disengaged, right? The kiting potential from an Aatrox, Graves, and Corki is very, very nice. Aatrox, well known as one of the staple and premier disengagers, right? You jump into an Aatrox, he gets exactly what he wants. So I like to see their optimization, which the Aatrox came in at R4. But the thing is it's still a little bit difficult to see because with scatter compositions, you have to play to a very exceptional degree because your whole composition relies on you not getting caught.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely relies on not getting caught. And it's a good point as well, thinking about, Aatrox definitely wants people to come into him. He wants you to play around his range. You mentioned the Aatrox picked on R4. The Irelia was responded, held till B4 for Tanxus. So, like everyone knows, if you've watched competitive League of Legends over the last few months, or even solo queue, Aatrox is number one for pretty much every top laner across all levels of play. But Tanxus thinks that the Irelia is going to be the pick into it, and it's one that I like to see. I think you have a better chance if you go into a more kind of fighter matchup and try and kind of win out on the 1v1. But as we round out the comps, we'll see Kai'Sa and Amumu in the bot lane for Golden Gales. Very, very aggressive bot lane. And then you, Auto Gray, going for the much more traditional of the Lucian Nami.
Yeah, and I am a little bit worried about Golden Gale's composition because this has no real sustain on the back end, right? This is a composition that has 5 different components that are each working individually to complete the whole aspect, right? There is no, hey, I'm going to heal you up, I'm going to be able to bounce off of you, right? We can run and do all these things. It's 5 individual champions that can all annihilate the opponent, right? You take a look at the Aurelia, well known as a 1v1, as we said against the Aatrox. The Rumble in the mid lane for Rager on board, who previously in most of the matches for Golden Gales has been a staple carry, and with the champion that's slowly coming back into the meta at the tail end of Season 12, if you win the lane, you're good to go. The Bel'Veth, well known as a scaler into the mid to late. It's all these champions are able to get ahead on their own and make advances in that situation. However, if they are stopped, if any of these key components fall to the wayside, there is a chance that they don't really have a way to come back, right? A composition that is based almost primarily around, hey, I want to go in, hey, I want to be able to brutalize the opponent. Well, if you don't have the damage, you can't do anything. So it does feel like you, Auto Agree, are leaning into that factor a bit more. Hey, we want to kite out. Hey, we don't want to allow you to catch us as easily. So I do want to see the might of the 5-1 Golden Gales be able to come out with a storm and show us why they are the top dogs here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they're picking a composition that allows them to do that. Like you mentioned, all 5 of their characters essentially can really pop off if given a lead, but it's on them to perfectly execute and get themselves that lead, especially in matchups that aren't particularly too easy. I mean, Kai'Sa, Mumu, especially in the bot lane, that's what I'm looking towards. If they can be really aggressive and shut down this Lucian Nami early on, Kai'Sa's just going to snowball to oblivion. But if you let Lucian Nami take advantage of all that early damage that they have just naturally, it's going to make your game incredibly harder, especially because Kai'Sa really needs to get to those items. She needs to scale. She needs to get those evolves on all of her abilities. If she can't do that, if it takes a lot longer, the game can potentially draw out and give you, Auto Agree, a chance to snowball that for themselves. This one should be an interesting one. I mean, you already talked about Golden Gale's comp a little bit, but what do you think going into game one, just compositionally, who you favor?
I mean, okay, to your first point, I know I ramble, and so that was just a huge
no.
ramble degree on Golden Gales, so I appreciate the downplay on my just word splurge there. To wrap it up, I actually still like Golden Gale's composition. The reason being is I personally still lean into the everyone go in, everyone try and fight, and just lay down ultimates. The reason being is even if it seems kind of all or nothing, that's the best part about it, right? Because there is no other direction you can go, right? It's very straightforward. It's one-dimensional. They're going to go at you one way or another. If they don't, they've already lost out. That also lends itself to the fact if they get ahead, it is over, right? If they get ahead in any lane, it is going to be gone. So I do like Golden Gale's composition. For the other side, you're taking a look at the Aatrox to be a star player as well as the Corki, but it's not great in sustained terms, right? It's a lot of poke. It's a lot of kind of keep him at bay and try and cut him down. If Aurelia, if Rumble, if Bel'Veth gets on any of these champions, they will not be able to duel. They will not be able to out-damage the likes of Golden Gale. So you, Auto Agree, as much as I like how they rounded out the kiting skirmish and to re-engage composition, I don't like their damage output towards the later stages. They have to be able to control and win out early team fights, or else they will have a situation on their hands. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think an important thing to note that I've picked up just from watching NECC games in all regions across this year is team fighting is always going to be really, really important. And I think from the side of Golden Gales, they've drafted a composition that allows them to succeed very easily in team fights, almost solely based around that Amumu from Evelyn Love. I think with the Amumu hits a big Curse of the Sad Mummy, you follow that up with an Equalizer. Even an Irelia ult on top can be so strong and just instantly giving you the team fight win. That it'll be an important aspect to watch. So I'd have to agree. I think I like the Golden Gales comp as well. We do have a bit of a pause here just at the beginning as both these teams head out of the base, but I'm sure this one will be over and resolved with very, very soon.
Yeah, I want to say that's UR Light having a little bit of trouble on the top side. Might be DC'd, but of course you don't want your Aatrox to be cut out of anything at the start. The nice thing as well is for Golden Gales, they are allowed to actually lane swap wherever they want, right? Take a look at the Rumble and the Irelia. Again, what's really surprising is the Rumble coming back into the meta, right? Rumble is well known as a staple in the AP damage area, but again, it's all damage, right? There's no real CC that comes with it, so you are relying on your team to be able to converge and help out on that red carpet strike. The fact of the matter is, if you're willing to take that, it already shows that that Rager on board is willing to play very aggressive, so I expect that mid lane to be an absolute bloodbath. Rager on board has also been the star carry. I want to say has posted up double-digit kills, I think, in all the series so far that they played. I don't think they've ever had an issue with that, so I mean, really expect Rager on board to have a fantastic time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rumble, one of those characters who, if he gets really far ahead, it gets to the point where that Equalizer will just one-shot, especially anyone in the backline. And there's a lot of squishies on the side of you, Ottawa Gray, in this one. We will see the Golden Gales walking as 5 through the bot lane, but not going to find anyone just yet. They'll spot out a few, drop a couple wards, but that'll be all she wrote.
Oh, and actually, that's kind of rough. So the fact that you actually drop double wards from Awe and Dark Utopia, it might not seem too significant, but the fact of the matter is, if you're playing around the Vision and you saw those wards go down, you now have very intimate knowledge that Dark Utopia and Awe will not have wards for the first 3 minutes, right? That is actually quite scary to think about. They're going to be blind for an early chunk of this early game, and because of that, it causes a lot of problems. That means that this composition of the Lucian Nami that always wants to kind of play up and aggressive, granted, Bel'Veth isn't going to really be in your face in the early stages. It does mean that you're blind, so you can't always press as hard as you want to, right? Always aggressing with the Lucian, dashing in, and the Nami throwing down those auto attack buffs. So it's surprising to see that they actually went for that and were willing to sacrifice their early vision just to ensure the jungle pathing.
Yeah, I mean, it helps out your Graves quite a bit, but even so, not that much. And I definitely like your point of, I mean, having no vision going blind, even if it is a Bel'Veth, even at level 3, she can very easily gank, has some access to the CC, and the follow-up on an Amumu is so easy. We will see the cleanse from Awe on the Lucian, so should make his life a little bit easier. But even an Amumu gauge, even with cleanse, does make it quite hard. They do spike level 2 first and get a nice chunk off on the Golden Gales bot lane. That first strike definitely helping out quite a bit in regards to this early level damage, and that's only going to scale. But we will see UR Light potentially in some trouble. Flashes away from the stun, but gets hit by the knockup. XGPH trying to figure it out if he can get the job done, but the enhanced auto might keep UR Light safe. But even a trade of just the flash will definitely make Tanksys' life a lot easier here in the top lane.
And I mean, remember, this was the whole reason that you zoom up to the top side, right? You went 3 camp into top side, right? You sacrifice a decent chunk of your clear just to get that top lane rolling, and I like that, right? Now, at this point, as you said, Tanks is in the lead, not just with the flash, but in the HP department, right? Both decided to go Doran's Blade, both were going very aggressive, meaning the healing coming out of UR Light is not going to be great. So already this Aatrox, this champion of kind of disengage and forcing an opponent to back up, will not enjoy the next couple moments, and that's why we can see the jump up from Alex to try and jump out instead. Oh,
yeah, drops the ignite, and it's over. Tanksys recognizes that he's got no flash. Q's through Graves, but that means the Q's on a reset. Hits the flash behind the wave, but the flash follow from Alex 5 Pop gets the job done. XGPH is going to flash forward, but misses out on the W, so feels like he's got a Q on back. And remember that with a TP out of UR Light, no TP to match on Tanksys, but it won't mean anything for the wave, but it will mean that the Bel'Veth's not able to stay too long for that trade. So an overall 1-for-1, but Irelia grabs the first blood.
And anyone that's played against Aurelia knows that is horrible. So you are light, you are kind of screwed. This leaves 1 of 2 options for Alex 5-Pop. Number 1 is you camp the top side, right? You just sit top side, you help that Aatrox, you get him ahead. Because again, in an Ignite versus TP situation, you're not going to win a 1v1 duel. So that Graves now has to decide, do you apply a lot of pressure to the top side? With the kill going the way of Alex 5-Pop, though, I do not think that's going to happen. Instead, UR Light is going to be left kind of on an island on their own and pray that they can sustain through most of this issue.
Yeah, the nice trade back feels a little bit nicer. Hitting the sweet spot on Q3 for UR Light makes the health trade a little bit more even, but the natural sustain of the Irelia with passive Anti-Vamp Scepter helps out a lot. But Rager on board, trying to go for the solo kill on to the Corki, but not going to find anything yet. QWQ getting some nice trading. Wilson taken very, very low in the bot lane. Alex 5-Pop trying to chase down Rager on board. Drops the smoke screen. We'll see if he can catch up. The W shield blocks quite a bit. Corki cannot come back into this one. And with no flash, I think Alex 5-Pop knows he cannot pick up this Rumble. But the mispositioning might make it a little bit easier. Gives him the E. He has to flash on back. I don't know why he walked back towards the river. I think he knows that his Bel'Veth was there, but as we say that, the Bel'Veth DC'd. So maybe that's the reasoning. He walks back, thinks it's going to be a 2v1, but instead forced to blow the flash. So we will get a short pause. Should be back shortly after we see the DC from XGPH.
That one actually hurts a lot. And the reason for that is, again, Rager had a massive HP lead in that mid lane, right? That's actually why we're seeing Alex kind of rotate in a little bit late. That feels so bad for Rager because the flash is the most important part of a Rumble's kit in the early stages, right? You're flashing in on top of the red carpet and you follow through to get the kill. That's what you're looking for. You don't have that option anymore. You're also now behind in level tempo. And Alex 5-Pop getting 2, I would say, successful ganks off. Topside counter gank, mid lane gank off, and that now means this Graves is going to have a very, very happy time moving through the rest of the game, and hope to see some more influence, right? The Graves was picked up, I believe, in R1 position after the Bel'Veth, so as a Graves, you want to see a lot of return for your value, right? A lot of help from your laners, especially Dark Utopia, to gather up those kills and be an absolute menace running around in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen all the priority picks of Graves throughout Worlds, either banned or picked in most games. And the reason it's picked is because of that strength he has, and not only clearing quickly, but invading, being very, very strong and influencing all 3 of your lanes. So now with 2 successful ganks, like you said, I think it is important that he continues to do that. But you mentioned it a little bit ago with UR Light dying with no flash and giving over first blood to this Irelia, he might feel pressure to keep kind of sitting there top and make sure that his Aatrox can play the game, but that feels pretty bad when your bot lane drafted Lucian Nami and you're laning against something as aggressive as Kaisa Amumu. You really feel like you need to be down there to protect for the counter gank, protect from and engage from the Amumu as well. So I think it'll be very important that he tries to split which way he goes, but keep the impact up, try and get invades off if you can, keep yourself ahead, and by doing that you can continue to snowball the game. We are pretty much even in this one, only a 300 gold lead. Not much for the side of you Ottawa Grey, but right as this pause, you can see that they have started to rotate their bot lane up to the Dragon. I'm not sure if they were taking it or were just trying to collapse on the Rumble, but once again, should be out of the pause here, hopefully, very, very soon.
Yeah, and going back to your point about the Graves and trying to look for bot lane, I would say it's not so much the fact that Wilson and Evelyn Love are an aggressive duo on the bot side with the Kaisa and the Amumu. It's the fact that All and Dark Utopia, these 2 champions, Lucian Nami, want to be more aggressive, right? The reason that you pick it up now, especially with the Electrocute being nerfed on Nami, it's not so much, hey, we're trying to get you to be stable and be in an even lane. It's no, we're trying to get you ahead. The Lucian Nami is a lane that you specifically pick for bullying purposes, and we saw it earlier. So For Alex Flypop, I would say not so much, hey, we have to keep it even. It's we want to get them ahead. We want to rotate this Lucian Nami. We want to take priority over the bot side of the map, which can cover the dragon as well as tower, give them a very large lead, and then be able to rotate them into the mid lane to take even more plates, right? So Alex Flypop, it's not so much try and help the bot lane, try and help the top lane, try and help mid, whatever you're trying to say. It's top lane at this point already has a very slight disadvantage. Yes, CS is in their favor, but I don't think it's necessary to go up there. At this point, the Aurelia is going to scale very, very well, and you just try and get a lane ahead, play into your strengths.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you make a good point. I think the bot lane of Awe and Dark Utopia have already done a good job. They have a small CS lead that'll be recuperated a little bit with this wave, and every time we pan down, they seem to have a lead in regards to the HP trades. Haven't found a kill just yet, but doing a good job of taking advantage of the early benefits that the Lucian Nami lane have. We just need to continue seeing them to do that, but we'll see where everyone tries to prioritize again. Like we mentioned, small lead towards the side of Uaru Gray, but really not meaning a whole lot. It is important to note that both solo laners for the side of Uaru Gray do have the teleport. No teleports on the side of Golden Gales. So they're going full, at least in the solo lane regard, really want to snowball these lanes and try and get a big advantage in the 1v1. But just some trading here in the bot lane. Both junglers continuing just to keep on clearing. They both want to hit that level 6 spike, try and get their items. Very, very important for both. The Tanksys does have a level disadvantage now, but lands the stun on TUR Light, but not that close to 6 and very low on mana. But the auto trades are winning out, and even the level disadvantage will not mean enough. The sustain is not there. Tanksys picks up the kill, so close to those sweet spots for Aatrox, but not able to get the job done.
Yeah, and Aurelia is one of the few champions that you can't do anything against, especially with someone that is so reliant on hitting your abilities, such as the Aatrox, right? You saw the dance. It was a level 5 Aurelia, by the way. That was level 5, no ultimate, no nothing. Just dance perfectly, right? So well done by Tanksys, and this is what I was saying. This is what we were talking about, right? UR Light will not win the top lane without Ignite, without Exhaust, or anything of the sort. You do not have kill threat. You do not have the same amount of sustained mobility that Tanksys has. So unless Alex Flypop really wants to apply a lot of pressure and give a lot of space to the top side, maybe look for the Herald, you're just not going to have a great time.
Yeah, definitely not. And looking for the Herald is so hard. I mean, anytime you see a Bel'Veth, you can almost guarantee that that Herald is something their eyes are going to be on from the very minute it spawns. It's just so strong on that champ that even looking towards Herald is so difficult when you know that your top lane is now in a losing position. It's just very, very difficult. We will see Alex Flypop hovering around the mid lane, but not going to find anything just yet. XGPH just going to keep on clearing. We'll see the Graves walk towards the top side, just taking away the crab for now. We'll see the first couple resets come out for both bot lane. So they both grab a Noon Quiver, but the Lucian ever so slightly ahead, picking up an extra dagger as well. Level 6 achieved for Tanksys, and UR Light could potentially be in some trouble, especially with this Ignite back up, but so far, nothing yet.
It's surprising, actually. We did see Alex Flypop actually recalling an enemy jungle territory, so very, very aggressive. And ooh, good flash out by UR Light. As we said, kind of expected this with Tanksys being so aggressive. But
yeah,
it's... Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, there's the Ignite. Just dashes on back in. UR Light taken pretty low. It's a shutdown going over to the Aatrox. Very well played after the ult missed. Tanksys thought that he was going to have the damage, but UR Light turns that one around, gets some bonus HP, but the Corki cannot say the same. Rager on board with a solo kill on to Outro.
That top lane, I mean, Tanksys kind of upset that they didn't get the reset on the Q. That's what they were looking for. That's what they were hoping to do. If it were up, that would have been the kill. That would have been easy trades. But overall, you're happy, right? You got a solo kill earlier. UR Light taking a couple chunks. Mid lane, though, very important. Rager on board, got the kill without Burning Flash. That now means Autruch is going to have some problems. Evelyn, though, trying to dance up and trying to get some help. Heal burn by Wilson.
There goes the roam from Rager on board. Drops the equalizer. Guts at the flash from Dark Utopia. The level 6 spike might keep him alive just for now. The culling might mean Rager on board will fall, but Evelyn Love just going to block it away. Lands the stun, but will get hit with the bubble. Taken pretty low. No aftershock now. Could try to turn this one to E back in, but the exhaust goes down. But as will Rager on board. The killer instinct might keep Wilson alive, but no attack speed means he can't get the job done. It's a double kill I think a triple kill, very close, or no, double kill, one going over to the Nami. AQWQ and Dark Utopia making the best out of a 2 for 3, going 3 for none.
Making the best out of a bad situation ain't what it's about. They just took over. That was great,
Absolutely.
right? And Rager on board, yes, the ultimate was good, but you see the level difference, right? Evelyn is useless without the ultimate. You need that ultimate alive. You need that help. So losing out in a 3v2, oh, that now gives you Ottawa Gray a huge opportunity, right? And Dark Utopia were one of the lanes that at least I was looking at for you, Ottawa Gray, to be able to carry through, right? Wanted to see the solution Nami get off the ground. They were just handed a golden opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a golden opportunity is the best. I mean, they made the best out of a situation that usually would be doomed, and you make a great point. I mean, no access to the Curse of the Sad Mummy makes that gank so much harder from Rager on board, and now we already saw they were doing fairly well for themselves in the 2v2, but now You Are Light trying to take down XGPH, and he will pick him up. This Belveth just not strong enough. Aatrox, even if he was a little bit behind, has now got himself a shutdown and another kill in his pocket, coming ever so close to finishing that Eclipse. Such a strong spike for the Aatrox.
Oh, and this is so dangerous. Remember what I said at the beginning, right? A composition by Queen's Guild, a very forward composition. It's great. It's all good if you get the lead. If you're able to get ahead, you're able to scale up, you're able to choose when to be proactive and when the fights break out. If you fall behind, though, you lose momentum. Your comp falls off for the fact that you have no sustain. You have no way to really kite out a fight. And you, Ottawa Gray, are hopefully going to punish that one, right? You see the Herald being picked up. Great opportunities on top or mid to be able to work through. So many options for this Graves, who is currently 1-0-0. Went for the Umbrel Glaive early as per standard. Oh, that's so nice for the side of you, Ottawa Gray, a team that is sorely looking for a series win.
Yeah, a series win, and especially, I mean, this would be a huge one. I mean, we've already known that the Golden Gales have got a pretty dominant lead up there, tied for first, but if they can take them down in a couple last weeks of the season, it means so much, like we talked about, for those placements. Rager on board, forcing out the W from Otrush, and doing a great job, you know, still farming up. Have seen a couple messes, and I mean, what you say is a great point. I mean, Golden Gills do not want this type of early game. Down just over 2,000 gold here at the 12-minute mark makes it so difficult, but the bandage toss will land, holding the Curse of the Sad Mummy, holding onto it, just trading it out for the Tidal Wave. Nice work. Holding it on. I don't know if they have the damage to get the job done quite yet, so at least you trade ultimate for nothing. Pretty good feeling for the side of the Golden Gales.
What they don't know is that's actually the only opportunity they are going to have, because Awe just picked up their cleanse, so they are going to have an opportunity to get out. Cleanse goes through, and more comes down.
Yeah, Evelyn Love instantly picks up Dark Utopia. The Equalizer comes down as well. Now goes the culling. SGPH taken very low, but as is Evelyn Love. He will almost certainly drop. That one goes over to the Corky. It's just a matter of if they can pick up Wilson as well. You Are Light with the TP down to try to save the play, but that first Q not going to land, and the movement speed from the E keeps the Kai'Sa alive. So you trade 1 for 1. Fortunately, that 1 for 1, the only kill for Golden Gales did go over to the support. Not what you're hoping for, but you do make a nice proactive play, and you do make Nami miss out on some XP, but Lucian still gets to retrieve that big wave. So still very well played for the most part from you, Ottawa Gray, making the best out of a 4-man dive.
Yeah, and honestly, I think all would have lived either way, right? A lot of HP in there, and backed against the wall away from the brush. Very nice positioning there. However, the cleanse really sealed the deal that Queen's Guilds were not going to get more than just 1 kill out of that. So feels really bad for them that they were hoping. They rotated forward. They put a lot of resources down there, and for that fact, they're now going to have to try and do damage control here.
Yeah, another bandage toss lands on Alex 5 Pop. Remember, he does not have the cleanse, but he does not need it. The heal keeping Evelyn Love alive for now. The exhaust only onto the Lucian means that the collateral damage picks up the kill. Wilson very low, flash forward from Alex 5 Pop, tries to finish the job with a component of the Gore Drinker, but not able to get it done. We see Rager on board rotating as well, but cannot finish the job. There was another solo kill in the top side for Tanksys, but first turret will go over to the side of you, Ottawa Gray.
And this is what I like teams to do. A huge thing that I personally hate to watch is teams that believe helping the weakest link will help the rest of the team in League of Legends, right? Help the weakest link, the team that is currently, or the lane that's currently down, and you will have success. No, that is not how you will always win League of Legends. There is a point where you have to say, help your strongest lane, get your strongest lane even further ahead, and they will dominate the game. And that is what Alex Flypop said. Hey, top lane's kind of lost, mid's kind of you know, Corky's going to do Corky things. Focus on the bot lane, right? Great rotate down. Yes, you didn't help in the dive, but you weren't expecting a 4-man dive at all. Great rotation out, though. You get them to get a huge plate advantage. You allow them to pick up first tower as well. The Lucian is fully online, which will allow you to duel out a little bit against Tinxus, who is currently 3-2-0 right now. So a little bit extra time to be able to skirt away from danger, because UR Light is just not having a good time.
Yeah, just getting bullied by the Blade of the Ruined King on Tanksys. Rager on board has moved up here as well. The wave's a bit far away from crashing with his next one. It won't get there yet, but the 3-man dive means UR Light could be in some trouble. But Dark Utopia and RQWQ are here as well. Rager on board going to drop down first with no use of the equalizer, and now XJPH is forced to flash. Braves is right behind, but that'll be the only thing. I mean, just such a great response from you, Ottawa Gray. You see the dive, they respond first, you keep your top laner alive, and you get a kill on Rager on board.
Oh, this is you, Ottawa Gray, smelling blood in the water and knowing that they have to use this sort of pressure early on. They know they now control the early game and need to keep this pressure going, right? Rotate the Lucian and the Nami around to consistently get more plates, more towers, and stay away from Tanxus. That is the most important part of this whole thing because of this, right? Tanxus will win 9 times out of 10. A little bit of a drop in and a dive under the tower, perfectly done. It's pretty much a written story, but now going to get caught up and cleanse right back out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, nice work. You blow out the cleanse. Trade ult for cleanse, always going to feel pretty good, but you just have to try and take advantage of it. You know that the Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be up once again before that comes back up, but double mythics means he applies so much damage. Wilson tries to jump in front of him to block, uses the killer instinct to try and get out, but will fall down first. AQWQ flashes away from the Belveth W, but gets a double kill for it himself. Great work from the bot lane of you, Ottawa Gray, just doing so well. They know they have the item advantage, both in the AD carry and in the support role. Bullying, doing such a good job. Perfect flash away. Not only keeps him alive, but picks up another kill. 4 now for QWQ.
And this is where it's starting to show the wear and tear that happened in the bot lane, right? Queen's Gales are still playing with the idea that bot lane is still in some sort of even state, right? That is not true by any stretch of the imagination, right? At this point, XGPH should realize that they are a lost cause, and I hate calling it, but it is, right? You can't save them. The Amumu goes in. Amumu has no stats. You take a look at the items, not even close to getting their mythic or any sort of legendary, so Evelyn needs to wait. They need to try and do damage control right now if they want a chance. You, Ottawa Gray, though, they're keeping the pressure up. They got UR Light back into a comfortable position, following up with Alex 5-pop, and now collapsing in on this retailed. Oh boy.
Yeah, great work. Tanxus could be in some trouble, lands a stun to at least get him away from Alex 5-pop, but now cannot enter through that side, going to have to walk some other way. And I mean, an important thing to keep in mind, even though both AD carries are here and it is a pure 5v5, I mean, Awe is up a full item on Wilson. He's just so much stronger with this collector. Does not have access to the culling quite yet. I don't know if Queen's Gale can get in here, and they might just try. They do have access to the equalizer and the Irelia ult as well, but so much poke coming out of this Corky, who has an item and a half. I mean, that 5k HP, and Tanxus is trying to find his way in. UR Light going in as well. Evelyn with a huge Curse of the Sad Mummy, and that's the combo we talked about. 3 dead right away for the side of you, Ottawa Gray. The only person left alive is the Corky Ignite, ticking, but won't get the job done. Flash forward from Wilson, won't find it either. Killer Instinct up in half a second, but not going to get the job done. That is the combo I mentioned in draft, executed perfectly by the side of Queen's Gale.
Oh, I had some worries. I was worried about the fact that they were grouping that close. They were saying, hey, we're gonna try and group up, go for the short tail. No reason to force it, right? Could have pushed a couple more towers, could have gotten a bit more gold there, but they bottlenecked themselves. And, you know, Evelyn Love, that's the one thing that we had to do, right? I said it at the beginning. You don't survive for that long, but you don't have to. All you need is that ultimate, and the fact of the matter is, got the ultimate off perfectly timed, and the follow-up from the one member that is currently strong. Tanksys, right? Tanksys got a beautiful Vanguard's Edge off, hit all 5 members, and again, the wombo came down. You auto agree, they had to be able to scatter, but they had no real summoners available, and Alex Flypop and You Are Light still have flashes up. The fact that they weren't able to get the flashes off shows how quickly Queen's Gales are able to turn these team fights around. So well done on their part.
Yeah, and that's what I like to see. I mean, you know that you are a little bit further behind. You know that the solution is very strong. You have to try and make a play. And another important thing to note that Evelyn Love in that first play where they were unfortunately killed under the mid-tier 1 did blow the cleanse of the Lucian. So they know, hey, Lucian has no cleanse. We're going to try to find an angle. 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy. Like you mentioned, the Vanguard's Edge on top of that, even if Rager on board isn't that strong yet. That equalizer is still going to do so much damage on all 4 that they just jump on them, take the opportunity, and grab so many kills. They grab the Rift Herald as well. It is in the pocket of Rager on board, but this game was starting to look like it might get out of control, at least for the side of Queen's Gale, but a nice turnaround brings the gold lead much, much lower for you, Ottawa Grey. They do have the first 2 Drakes still. This next Drake spawning in 30 seconds. It is the responsibility of Queen's Gale to try and stop the Dragon stack. Of course, when we do get out of the pause, looks like XGPH is once again disconnected, unfortunately, but should be out of this one as soon as we can.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation to be in because the pauses, I believe there's only so many pauses you can lay down, or I believe there's a certain time limit for all pauses.
I think so. I think it's 30 minutes total, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 30 minutes total for the series, not for the game, right? That's the most destructive part of this all. So for the squad, XGPH has yet to really find any purchase either, right? The Belveth was blind picked. That is a blind pick champion by XGPH and saying, hey, I want this early on. That's great. The problem is you're 0-3-3. It's a hyperscaling champion. You need early kills. You need early pressure. Currently behind about 10 camps in the jungle presence. That's why we see the 2-level difference, and it's causing some problems. We are seeing that XGPH has not been able to really get any global objectives, right? One Rift Herald, I think, is all we've seen so far. Has lost both dragons so far. Able to pick up the Rift Herald, the second one, only because of a team fight. And that's a little bit of a rough spot. So really harsh for SGPH to consistently get DC'd here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the DCing, of course, doesn't feel great, but those early ganks not resulting in much doesn't help at all either. The Drake spawns in just about 10 seconds, and it will be, at the beginning at least, a 4v5. I think the package is available for Autruche. On the Corki, we'll see they're starting to stack there in the bush. It's just a matter of Queen's Gale finding the angle to get on in. They will drop the Rift Herald there in the mid lane and try to get that prio first, and then potentially use that to move on over. You Are Light still hanging out in the top side, but not. Does have access to the TP, but will hold it for now. The Rift Herald will not hit the mid lane. That feels so bad for Queen's Gale, but they now have the positioning they want in regards to getting a combo. Will be a flank TP from the Aatrox, but it's pointed out first. We'll see if they just try to jump on him, but no, they'll just back on out. You Are Light still holding onto the flank, instead takes the blast cone over the wall. Soul point for you, Ottawa Grey. It's just a matter of Queen's Gale. Again, they have to find that engage. They're a little bit farther ahead now. The fight's going to be a little bit closer with the gold lead evening out just a bit, but the Drake is getting lower and lower and lower. You need Evelyn Love to go in. They're going to be zoned away. Beautiful package from Autruche means that Rager on board is going to drop right away. The Curse of the Sad goes down and lands on 2. Wilson drops, and the beautiful bubble going down as well. XGPH still alive. Tanksys still as well. So much damage from this Irelia. The Vanguard's Edge doing so much work even after the pick on Rager on board, but now it's a 2v2. Only one jungler alive. Tanksys trying to get the job done. Bubble will not land. Just one on a rampage. No! Unbelievable play from Tanksys. Stays alive to sustain. The Gore Drinker gets the job done. This Irelia has snowballed in the early game, and the lead is growing for Queen's Gale on the back of Tanksys. Incredible mechanical play.
I feel like all of my predictions have come true here, right? I said Queen's Gales, they're going to have good team fights, and they have to play in a one-dimensional factor, right? You go in, that's all you can do. And granted, you Ottawa Grey, they tried to barrel stuff it, right? The tidal wave was perfect in slowing down the fight. They were able to block out a huge jump in by Tanksys, or that would have been a wash straight off the bat, right? Instead, it was a 3-for-3. XGPH and Tanksys were the only two that really dished out the damage, right? Rager on board dropped the equalizer, got annihilated right away. The equalizer barely did any damage. Wilson couldn't really go in. Evelyn got off the Curse of the Sad Mummy. That's fine. Whatever, right? Tanxus out-dueled so much, and that is what is scary, right? This 9-2 and 4 Aurelia now commands so much control, and I said it before, I'll say it again. Tanxus on this Aurelia, right? You auto grade do not have the right itemization in the champions to out-sustain the duel, right? If Tanxus is able to access the backline, if Tanxus survives and is able to jump to that backline and get some work done, you do not win. There is no way for you to kill this champion. Look down the itemization board of you auto grade. There is no heal cut, there is no slow, there is no cut potential really. Yes, it's being itemized by all right now, but it took a little bit too long, and because it took so long, Queen's Gales are now back on even footing.
Yeah, I mean, just so incredible. We saw the fight almost go their way. A good tidal wave kept him alive for now. Wilson almost certainly going to drop. Aw grabs the pick. The Gale Force goes 1-for-1, getting the trade as Aw gets a nice pick. That means they could try potentially for a Baron turn, but all walking up now. You Are Light still zoning away. Evelyn Love, access to the Curse of the Sad Mummy is there. We know that Tanxus is on a flank if they try to hit this, but they won't start yet, just potentially looking for another pick. This wave is crashing into the top lane, not being picked up yet. We'll see You Are Light head that way now.
And I will say, I really, as much as the pick was good, you can't actually fight this. What you need is someone like this.
Yeah, XGPH will go down, shut down You Are Light. Now it's a double from Tanxus going in. The Vanguard's Edge just gonna miss, forcing the flash from You Are Light. But now the jungler for the side of Queen's Gale has dropped. I mean, QWQ still does so much damage. This would be a 2v4 if they go for the play, but with the top tier 1 still up, they won't try anything quite yet. They're going to start hitting the Baron, but immediately turn on off. Wilson in some trouble, taking quite a bit of damage from Autruche, but not going to find anything yet. QWQ looking around, grabbing plenty of vision. You see the top side of the jungle here on blue side is completely controlled by You Ottawa Gray. I mean, it's a dark space for the side of Queen's Gale, and that makes the Baron even more scary. But they're not going to take it yet. They're just going to walk on out. We'll see Tanxus clear out plenty of vision now.
In this whole situation, You Ottawa Gray understand that their shortcomings in these upcoming fights will be vision denial, right? If they are denied any sort of vision, they are in trouble. You can see here, it is the ocean map, right? Ocean map always means more bushes for wombo combos to randomly pop out of. You need the wards down. You need to know where 3 key characters are, right? You're looking at Tanxus, Rager on board, and most importantly, Evelyn Love, right? With the Evan Shroud, you are very, very happy with that current hold, but you need to always see where those 3 people are. A little bit of an issue with our screen right now. We do apologize. It is so scary if you don't have that vision. So, great wards going down, and they have to keep control of that vision. If they do not, they will get wombo comboed again. So I like the fact that they're taking so much time and effort to just ensure that they see everything going on.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be so careful. I will say, XGPH has just spiked on second item. This is the more traditional build that we see a lot of the time in competitive, and even sometimes in solo queue will be the Frostfire Gauntlet picked up for the Belveth. So a lot beefier, a lot less damage as well, but you trade that just a bit. So a couple more technical issues that we're seeing, but should be sorted out just about now. Tanxus will find You Are Light in the top lane, but there is quite a few people hovering around bot side, and keep in mind, it is no longer, or would not be Soul for the side of You Ottawa Gray, with that last one picked up by Queen's Gale. We could potentially see a trade of neutral objectives. We see the entirety of Queen's Gale heading towards this top side, but they still have vision on it on the side of You Ottawa Gray. So we'll see if they want to they're not going to just trade it 1-for-1, but they are starting to hit it. It will be collapsed on very easily. We know that they're on vision, and they have not spotted it out yet. You Are Light still in the top lane, but moving down now. Going to go down right away. The tidal wave down as well. It will go over to the side of Queen's Gale, but they're all going to fall so fast.
Oh my God,
guess who's alive? It's still Tanxus. The Vanguard Edge keeping him alive for now, but he has dropped the shutdown going over to QWQ, and that is huge. It feels so bad for the side of Queen's Gale that your Irelia just fell, had such a big shutdown, and it went over to the Lucian. You do get the Baron, which is sort of a win, but they're going to be able to push so far now down the mid lane, and grab themselves Soul Point that you really have to be careful, especially with such a big item or such a big gold influx going into the pocket of the U Ottawa Grey AD carry.
I'm really surprised Queen's Gales felt like they had to take that, right? You saw the vision setup. It was negligible, right? There wasn't really any vision to work with per se. The fact that they felt they had to go for the Baron and put themselves at such a disadvantage, right? This is a composition that excels at pushing into someone doing Baron, right? Pushing into that pocket instead of being in the pocket themselves. If they're in the pocket, they can't direct their action. They have to be the ones responding. And you, Ottawa Grey, play it perfectly, right? They route it, open up with the culling from all QWQ. They route the Aurelia early on, and yes, they lose out on the Baron, but I think they're going to be okay with that. Now it's all about that base defense. They have put themselves on Soul Point, and the question is how much extra do they lose here? Right now, it does look like about 2 towers.
Yeah, the culling going to come on down on to XGPH, but not going to be taken too low. Going to sustain quite a bit of a back up. Tanks is trying to make a play, but the stun will not land. Dashes back through to the last minion to get himself to safety. This is still a 3.5 item Irelia with a stopwatch in the bank. So keep in mind that any of these fights could be turned. Trying to make a play. XGPH not winning this one, but Alex 5 Pop will go down. Nice shutdown. Gets the job done. The tidal wave gets him pretty low. Flash forward, love it. All QWQ gets him down first, but the equalizer gets the job done. The killer instinct will get Wilson to kill himself, and Autruche will die as well. You are like the only man standing on the rift for you, Ottawa Grey, and that is it.
Oh my
nice
gosh.
work from Queen's Gale. They still got the Baron buff as well. Everyone stays alive with the exception of XGPH, and that is the strength of the Rumble. Even though he went through that cleanse, the Amumu still gets the stun for just long enough. Rager on boards, ult does so much work, and this Lucian died almost instantly. They're not going to grab this inhib pretty much uncontested.
That ego check, that had to hurt there, and now your light gets caught. Oh no!
Yeah, he's going to try and sustain through, but just way too much damage. I mean, it's a 4v1. Even an Aatrox is going to be hard-pressed to sustain through that. Such a nice play from Queen's Gale. Snap decision, make a quick play. Beautiful work.
And falling back to what just occurred, it was XGPH and Alex 5 Pop kind of ego checking each other. And the only reason I say that is XGPH should not have been anywhere near that
Yeah.
Graves. Half HP, and you are walking into the enemy jungle and you find Alex 5 Pop and you don't go away. I mean, hey, maybe you know your champion better than I do, but normally I see that and I'm like, I don't win that fight, right? You're running a little bit more bruise or sustain, so you don't get to out damage a situation. And yes, Alex 5 Pop did die over the wall. I believe it was Rager that was helping XGPH. But then all QWQ went in, and most importantly, used the cleanse too early. So there's a minute difference when you use the cleanse, say, before the Curse of the Sabnomi comes down and after, right? If you use a cleanse before, there is a brief period of time, 3 seconds after the cleanse is used, that you do, well, you know, Wilson not going to have a good time.
Oh, wow. Makes it out with
no.
the Gale Force, but the collateral damage gets the job done.
Yeah, and going back to it, the cleanse, if you use it after all the CC goes down, you will be instantly cleansed of all slows, any stuns, roots, or anything like that. If it's used afterwards for 3 seconds, yes, all slows, stuns, and roots are negated by 75%, but that still means you get rooted, right? That was the whole issue. All QWQ went in to help, tried to pick up a revenge kill, and got punished for it. You, Ottawa Grey, they have the right idea. They have the champions. They currently have the abilities. They have come so much further and are putting themselves in great position to fight for certain things, but they need to play smart.
Alex 5 Pot taking a lot of damage from the equalizer, but not gonna find anything yet. The ultimates should be back up, I hope. It'll be pretty close. The equalizer will definitely be back up in 1 minute with this level 16 Rumble, but the Curse of the Sad Mummy will be cutting it very close for what will be Soul for the side of you, Ottawa Grey. And even with this mid inhib down, you can almost guarantee they're going to fight this one. They need that. I mean, a Soul Spike, especially with Ocean Soul, is so impactful, and you cannot, I mean, if you're you, Ottawa Grey, you cannot keep allowing a champ like Irelia to keep stacking Ocean Dragons. If Irelia gets even more sustained, it's going to feel so bad as you get later on in the game, and it's already been very difficult.
Okay.
Texas, with Guardian Angel, they're going to start walking that way now. The package is available for Autruche, so that could be a pretty defining factor, but we saw it even still not go in their favor in that last fight, but it's just a matter of who gets the positioning first. 20 seconds left on the Drake. before it spawns. Queen's Gale trying to get as much vision. You Ottawa Grey clearing out quite a bit of it.
And honestly, this is actually much more damaging for the side of you, Ottawa Grey, or more powerful for them if they pick it up, right? Queen's Gales have not itemized at all for the heal cut, and now we go in.
Tanksys going in 1v4, instantly
Oh my
kills
gosh.
the enemy support, and the Curse of the Sun maybe doing some work as well. Stopwatch going to go down, but so does the Equalizer 2 go down right away. Triple kill over to the side of Tanksys. The only one left alive is You Are Light, and no one will fall. Evelyn Love gets his job done. Even though he falls in the engage, does the work perfectly. Tanksys knows, hey, I'm 4 items. I have a Guardian Angel. If I go in 1v4, even if I drop, my team is right behind me, and he doesn't even come close to dropping. As Queen's Gale decide we do not need the Drake. It does not matter. We've got a wave in the mid lane. They're just going to end this one off. Such beautiful team fighting and a great comeback from Queen's Gale.
I would honestly say that wasn't so much team fighting as Tanksys literally dragging the rest of the Queen's Gale's team.
That's fair.
And saying, we're going to take this fight, right? Monstrous. 13, 3, and 6. The damage has to be off the charts, right? Ridiculously well done. And that was all played off of a single moment, right? In the early stages, it all goes back to that top lane difference. We saw Tanksys get into a 1v1 scuffle, got 1 kill, great, right? After that, constant steamrolling over and over again. And yes, you Ottawa Grey responded very well. Hey, leave Tanksys alone. Don't give more kills. Don't give extra kills. Just let them farm up, try and take pressure everywhere else. You did the right thing. What you didn't do is you didn't respect the all-in potential, right? 3 big team fights are what swung all the gold back, all of the early pushing, all of the towers taken. You Ottawa Grey had to respect that factor, and they just did not. And when they did, a little bit too little too late. No one could kill Tanksys. As we said, no real way to out-duel and out-sustain an Aurelia at the end game.
Yeah, definitely not when he's hit that 4-item spike, especially. I mean, like you mentioned, it's such a great point. You Ottawa Grey was doing really well. They were playing through bot lane. The Lucian was monstrously ahead. He was blowing people up. But that one fight around that Rift Herald with the 4-man Curse of the Sad Mummy, the Vanguard's Edge on top just really changed it like that. And from that point forward, Tanksys was pretty much unstoppable. Did have the 1 death following, but just was not enough. Too strong. So we'll see Golden Gales take the game 1 victory, but we've got another one at least coming up here very, very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Flashing lights dance with fire in the night. I'm wired. Watch the time pass us by. Is this feeling lying? Could you pass the lighter? Yeah, I'm trying to keep my cool. Nicotine in my veins, flaming up desires. What am I supposed to do? Cause it feels so good. Feeling wild like a zoo. Put me in a mood. Put me in a mood. Maybe I should've known that it ain't real. How'd you know how to get into my feelings? You're a trip giving me hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Baby, I should've known that it ain't real. How'd you know how to get into my feelings? You're a trip giving me hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. You're a trip giving me hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Yeah. Moving through all my feels, you're blurring up my vision. Watching your every smile like your television. In your eyes, I see myself unfolding. Make it make sense, it must be the temptation speaking. What am I supposed to do? Cause it feels so good. Feeling wild like a zoo. Put me in a mood. Put me in a mood. Maybe I should've known that it ain't real. How'd you know how to get into my feelings? You're a trip giving me hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Maybe I should've known that it ain't real. How'd you know how to get into my feelings? You're a trip giving me hopeless solution. Hopeless solution. Hopeless solution.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC, where we've got some more Champions Ontario coming at you very, very soon. In Game 1, we saw the Golden Gales win in pretty dominant fashion, at least through the top side. Tank Sis absolutely popping off on the Irelia, hoping to do more of the same in Game 2. My question for you, Orbital, how can you Ottawa turn things around and bring this one to a third game?
Well, I think we saw it. Number one is preying on kind of the searching for the right words. I want to say the ego plays, right? And it's
Sure.
not so much ego plays on the side of Queen Scales. They are obviously a very good team, right? We saw it back there. They were able to play from behind with a composition that normally doesn't do well, trying to play catch up, and they did very well with it. What I mean to say is notice some trends going through, right? Number one was the bot lane, right? You noticed that the Kaisa and the Amumu was there, and you said, hey, we have the Lucian Nami, we can punish that, right? And they punished it well. They played to that strength very well. So identifying the weak points to a composition, very, very important. Number two, respect the opponent's composition as well, right? Respect the fact that even if they're behind, they still have bombo combos, and you got to kind of deal with that fact. Overall, number three, other than that, I think it's just play the lanes as well as you can, right? We know on the top side it was a little bit hard for UR Light. Maybe have a little bit better time in the top side. Maybe in mid lane we get to see something different than the Corki, maybe something with a bit more agency. Yes, the Corki did damage, but I'd like to see something that can influence the side lanes a little bit more, considering how much Rager on board was roaming. So a couple things to look at, but of course that's just my kind of solo queue-esque mind speaking right there.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that is very important, especially what I thought of when you brought that up in the mid lane. The Corki can do damage, but he has to farm and get to the point where he's able to do that. When you go that AP Corki build, you really need 2-3 items to really get online and start blowing up the back line. And the negative of that, like you mentioned, a passive laner, is Rager on board was really able to roam and influence both bot and top in the early to mid game. And if you allow him to do that again, it's going to be very, very difficult for you throughout game 2. So sides have not changed, so Golden Gales will still be on blue, you Ottawa Grey on red. These are the first couple bands. Reminder, when we do get into the picks, they will all just be in order of position, not the order that they were picked in draft. So the first couple bands already taken place. We'll see Yumi, Sejuani banned away by the Golden Gales, as well as Caitlyn and Hecarim taken away from you Ottawa Grey.
Yeah, and these are, I don't want to say these were the exact same as before. Looking prior, I think they were.
Similar,
game number
definitely
one,
similar.
yeah, game number one was the Swain, the Yumi, and the Lux. So changing out 2 of the 3. The Nami, I do agree, was definitely a problem. But swapping out the Aurelia, I agree with this one as well. A very understanding point where you're just like, yeah, this is a problem. So we'll go ahead and change that out. But right now, a huge swing in difference here. This is a much more aggressive setup. At least for the side of U Ottawa, right? U Ottawa, they were a composition that really wanted to stray away, kind of play disengage, try and play back. But this composition, at least with the Ornn and the Viego, much more forward in their aggression, what they want to do. The mid lane, though, worrying me. Rager on board getting his signature Silas, a champion that he's played, I think, at least 3 or 4 times in the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely concerning, a champion we know he can pop off on. And not only that, we know it's in the hands of someone who's very talented with the pick, but it's also just a strong pick in general. I mean, it's pick ban at Worlds for a reason. This character is very, very strong. So on the side of the Golden Gales, we already talked about the Silas just a little bit. So it'll be Graves and Gwen to finish out their top side. And then Ornn, Viego, Corki, like you mentioned. But this is an interesting one. So we know the Draven locked in for you, Ottawa Grey. This was a blind Draven that they picked on R2. Graves was picked on B1 for the Golden Gales. So the bot lanes will be rounded out for the Golden Gales, Varus and Soraka to round out their composition, and Draven and Lulu for you, Ottawa Grey. A very interesting pick. We know they snowballed the bot lane early in game 1 on the Lucian Nami, but with the Nami taken away, they opt for the Draven instead. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I mean, this is, if you're going to lean into the bot lane, I think this is leaning into the bot lane, right? I like it. I actually really like it. So sorry. I was thinking I was going to say something. However, Wilson and Evelyn still opted to play a little bit more passive early game. The Varus and the Soraka do not come online till mid to late game. And the Soraka, to me, signals, especially after you pick it in B4, you're signaling that you're not playing it for lane, right? You're playing this to get the Silas, the Gwen, and the Graves ahead. The Varus is there just to kind of help out, right? I like that call. The problem is the fact for you auto agree is this time around you don't necessarily get a choice on which lane you're going to be focusing, right? The Lucian Nami, it can generate its own sort of pressure on its own, right? It can generate a lot of control on that bot side. We saw it in the 2v3 situation. Draven Lulu forces attention from your own team, right? If Viego does not join that bot side, if Viego does not even attempt in the first 6 minutes, I would say, to gank that bot lane, to lay down some wards, to get some vision, to force XGPH out, I would consider that a loss on you auto Gray's side. When you pick a Draven, especially as second pick, you are signaling that that is your strong lane and you need to play as such. If you do not, that's going to be a little bit frustrating to me.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Draven definitely wants that attention, especially with the Lulu into a Varus Soraka lane. And it's another important thing to note. I mean, Draven is always going to be an AD carry who really wants to snowball lane, really wants to make sure that he gets some early kills. But if that's not able to happen, I mean, Soraka is one of those champs, at least in my mind, when I see it in solo queue, that if she comes out of lane even or ahead, the game is so hard to win. That champ is so incredibly strong, even through heal cut. And especially when you have champs with their own innate built-in lifesteal like Silas or Gwen, who have a similar thing, but they get it through items, through things like Omnivamp with the Rift Maker. Gwen is also an interesting pick. This one was held until R5. Ornn was picked on B5. Ornn was picked on R4. Gwen, not in the greatest spot. You won't see her played super often, but is one of the picks that's still really, really good into Ornn and tanks in general. And I don't hate the decision to go double AP solo lane, especially when it's more of those bruiser AP champs. You're not having a mage, at least a control mage who's going to sit back. You have Silas, you have Gwen, who can really easily get in there and blow people up in lane. So now that we've seen all the comps come out here on stream, I mean, we saw Golden Gales, we saw how well they played in game one. Are you still favoring them after you see the draft, or are you looking more towards you, Ottawa Gray?
I would normally give it to you, Ottawa Gray, here. The only reason is because I know what Dravens can do, and we saw what happened last game, right? I think they have the capabilities to do so. And if they play like they did before, which is a little bit more responsive, but try and put a little bit more proactivity behind it, I would say you, Ottawa Gray. Problem being is the champion that we have not talked about is Golden Gale's Rager on board, the Silas. This is going to be a problem, right? Rager on board in game number 1 had a decent performance, right? Nothing outstanding. However, that was with a Rumble, a champion that is known just for damage and literally nothing else, right? The Silas brings a bit more to the table, right? Not just with the hijack, but the fact that you have so many engaged tools and you have a lot of innate damage behind it. Plus the fact that Rager on board has played this champion multiple times to a great extent. I have a feeling Golden Gales have gotten all the key components that they want to carry a game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And not only, it feels even better if you're Rager on board, right? You know that you're getting a champ that you're very, very confident and comfortable on, that you know you can carry with, and your support's playing Soraka behind you. So it makes your life even easier. You already have so much lifesteal, so much ability to just regen your health and get those HP back from the Kingslayer, that with a Soraka behind you in these elongated fights, you're just going to win out. I'm very, very excited to see what he's able to get done in the mid lane, especially because it's into a more passive lane. He should be able to just farm up. And if he wants to roam and impact the map, he definitely can. I think we can expect that out of him as well. But it'll be interesting to see. We already talked about, the Graves probably needs to really favor towards that bot lane to help make sure that his Draven Lulu lane snowball. You mentioned they definitely need to focus that attention. The Viego on the opposite side with the Draven and the Lulu. So if you're Graves, if you're XGPH, do you think he tries to match down bot lane? Do you think he's going to try and snowball his solo lanes?
I think XGPH actually has the pick of the litter, right? Once again, this is still standard with Queen skills. They play aggressive, but oh dear.
Alex Pop could be in some trouble here. A dash already used by XGPH. He's taken very low. Nice dash over, and the chains land. And that's the Rager on board. Silas that we talked about predicts the flash to the right. Beautiful play from him. You just gave the Silas, the guy we know he's comfortable on, you just gave him 400 gold. That's a very free Dark Seal that he just gets to get before the first wave even spawns. It's already looking so difficult for this Corki in the entirety of you Ottawa Gray here, even before the 2-minute mark.
All right, well, let's not give Rager on board too much credit for that.
Sure.
XGPH and Tanksys knew that was going to happen, right? You saw them setting up. XGPH ran into the brush, said, "Hey, I spotted Alex 5-Pop. I know where they are." Alex 5-Pop, honestly, no real chance out. I give huge credit to the rest of the team for even trying to help out there. So it was just a really good timing for Queen's Gales, and they capitalized on top of it. You get the flash as well, which means Alex 5-Pop is behind in the camp clear department, and if XGPH is able to find any moment, a single time to catch Alex 5-Pop, it is over. One kill you can come back from, right? One kill, you lose a flash, that's okay. You lose your life twice in the first early stages, there is no chance at all for you to really come back.
Yeah, it's so difficult to play. We're going to have to see him really be careful. And it's important to note, too, that with the jungler losing the flash, and we know he wants to play around this Draven lane, that makes it even harder for him. I mean, it's harder for him to make plays with things like W flash later on, or even if he is met with a counter gank from XGPH, if he's not able to get out of there, it's so difficult. But some early bullying coming out from the Ottawa Gray bot lane, looking first on Evelyn Love, changing their focus now into Wilson, but the health trade going in their favor so far. The shield going to block up quite a bit. Some sustain from the Soraka Q keep things just about even. But we're already going to see XGPH try to make a play happen.
Oh, no.
Another Q lands, keeping him very healthy. Flash forward, forces the flash out of the Draven, but the smoke screen double flash as the heal comes out. Odd QWQ still alive for now, as is Dark Utopia, and the shield keeps him alive. The cooldowns helping him out in this one. So every summoner spell, with the exception of the exhaust, blown in the bot lane as well as XGPH's flash.
You know what? I will count that as a win for Awe and Dark Utopia, right? First gank of the game, or first real gank. That is such a scary point to be at. You lived, right? You get to keep the stacks, you get to keep your lives, and now you have the exhaust trade over, meaning that if you decide to go in on Wilson or Evelyn Love, you win that automatically. So really big point to think about. Oh dear, Alex, oh no.
Rager on board looking for Alex 5-Pop, but through the chains, trying to predict him once again. Thought he'd keep walking forward, but some nice footwork keeps him alive once again. It really is unfortunate. He doesn't lose out on much just because there's no camps for XGPH to steal, but steal doesn't feel very great if you're the Viego.
Yeah, that is, again, Alex 5-Pop is doing okay trying to get back into this game, and there hasn't really been a challenge on their life. It's just the rest of the lanes that end up having a hard time because of it. As we said, all QWQ, Dark Utopia, they're doing well to not lose their life, but you like to be a little bit further ahead. Atrushe in the mid lane, that's also a damaging part as well, right? You can see here you're forced out of the lane, but oh, great gank coming in.
Alex 5-Pop could look for a play here onto Rager on board, but not going to find anything just quite yet. Not enough damage to pick up the Silas. Unfortunately, that stun landed on a creep, so not able to get any CC down onto Rager on board. Just some more trading here in the top lane. Nothing too crazy so far. We will see Corki try and take his first base here. Rager on board will, looks like just keep this one in front of his tower. Not too healthy in regards to HP, and neither is Tanksys. Gets knocked up very low. One more auto will get the job done. Flash forward means You Are Light gets a solo kill. This was countered by the Gwen, but You Are Light doing a great job. Maybe holding some resentment from that Irelia game. He comes on back and gets a solo kill in the top lane.
Yeah, Tanksys also getting a little bit cheeky, right? Trying to get an early kill, but all of QWQ, we gotta talk about this. Oh my lord.
Yeah, very greedy, and he's got no flash. We'll drop the exhaust to keep him alive for now. No smoke screen thrown out yet. XGPH still looking for the kill. Can't find it yet, but the smoke screen slow guarantees that one goes over to Wilson. And being a Draven lane, that feels so bad.
I said it, right? I said that I wanted to see some sort of leverage being put to the spot side, and yet Alex 5-Pop is still glancing to the top side. I know I talked about in game number 1 how you want to help the strong lane, and yes, the Ornn wanted, but what are you doing helping a top lane Ornn, right? The Ornn is going to scale no matter what. Whether you get a kill or not, it doesn't have as much value as trying to get your bot lane ahead, who has now been ganked twice, by the way. That is 2 ganks. And as a Draven, you are not happy about this, right? You are just going, why am I not getting any help? Why am I not trying to get boosted up here? Why am I not being given any attention here? Queen's Gales being able to grant themselves a cheeky opportunity by focusing that bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, and just doing a great job, and it really does feel bad. We see Alex Five Pop hovering towards this top lane, like you said. Your Ornn, like you said, absolutely naturally going to scale regardless. I mean, he's going to scale with levels incredibly well when you get those Ornn upgrades online, but he already got a solo kill by himself. He doesn't need the help, and with all this attention in the bot lane, such a good trade in the mid lane as well. Outrush forced to flash on out. I mean, it's so difficult, and I think Graves, XGPH, just knows he can keep on focusing this bot lane, and if you never let this Draven snowball, it's so much harder for him to play the game, because Draven, one of those AD carries who really doesn't scale all that well.
Well, okay, let's...
He scales fine,
comparatively to other champions?
Yeah, comparatively, I think he's known for being more lane dominant than scaling heavy, but Alex Five Pop could be in some trouble. Exhaust blown by Evelyn Love. They're going to look first on to QWQ. Not going to find anything yet, but this quickly will become a 4v3. Trush coming on in. The Ornhorn, a nice TP from UR Light, trying to get the knockup onto the Graves. He will almost certainly drop that one. Going to head on over to the Corki. A nice TP from UR Light secures the kill, but Rager on board here now. Flashes away is Alex Five Pop. They're just going to turn on to Trush as the Soraka will live. Lulu ult picked up by Rager on board. So a nice turn just walking on out. We'll see if they keep on trying to chase, because people take him very low, but Chain's not going to land, not going to commit the flash just quite yet. A nice trade back and a beautiful TP from UR Light gets the kill, but it does mean he'll miss out on quite a bit up in the top lane. Already has a CS deficit, and this whole wave, maybe not the whole wave, but a lot of it will die to this top tier 1.
I would also like to point out, I do not share the opinions of Paladino. Paladino has his own opinions about what Dravens do and how they scale. I will say that with my whole chest over and over again.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, yeah. So the only reason I feel, well, you are like going to have a little bit of trouble here. I don't think anything's really going to come of this. So
yeah, I don't think so either.
what I want to say here is the fact that, yes, a Draven feels like it doesn't scale, because most of the time the game ends like way earlier if a Draven gets ahead, right? And the only time they don't scale is if they don't get a lead. So it's not so much that they don't scale into the late game, which now with the extra executes thanks to the passive stacks, right, you get a much larger chance of getting those early kills, especially with the Whirling Blades. It's the fact that it's a coin flip. It's not that Draven doesn't get dangerous later. He can still one-shot you at any point. It's the avenues of access to that late game damage. You know, how easy is it to actually access that damage? Well, you only have one route, right? Get early kills and then win out there, because, again, as you said, lane bully tactics kind of stand above all. So that's the only one that I would have to refute. What I will say about the team fight before, great job by the side of UAuto Gray to collapse just like that, right? You are light, proactively TPing down. The only downside is they couldn't convert the dragon, which feels really bad.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you commit the TP, you do get the kill on to the jungler of the Golden Gales, but not able to convert to the Drake does feel pretty bad. You actually don't lose out on much CS because UR Light was able to pick up the mid wave on the way back top lane, but things will even out with this wave crashing in now in Tanxus. And surprisingly enough, Tanxus still down at least about a half level or so on UR Light. Should recuperate that one here with this wave coming in now, but I'm surprised to see no dragons taken quite yet. We'll see what they try to go to now. We're going to see XGPH pinging on the way to this first Drake, with still some more fighting in the top side, but nothing too crazy. UR Light might be in some trouble here as Tanxus goes in for the 1v1. The Ornhorn forces out the flash. No W means this knockup will hit, but he missed the knockup, and Tanxus is going to get the solo kill. I think he was just out of range. It despawned, wasn't able to get the knockup on Tanxus, and that's another one, the first kill of the game for the Gwen.
Yeah, that one hurts a little bit. UR Light was doing a really nice job dancing out of range, making sure they weren't taking too much damage, but the wear and tear finally got to them, and then follow up with a little extra tower damage as well. So Tanxus played that extremely well, right? And again, this doesn't mean the end of the world for the top lane, right? It's an Ornn, right? Ornn does everything. If you fall behind in the damage aspect, well, you'll get stronger later on, right? If you fall behind a little bit later on, cool, just get XP and you can give all these items over to your teammates. So many different ways that the Ornn can be used.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's naturally going to scale. Of course, getting solo kill doesn't feel great, but he will be just fine. Alex Five Pop is hanging out here in the bot side, but QWQ already taken to about half HP, and so much sustain comes out of the Soraka as well. It is important to note that no ultimate available for Wilson. He did miss out on that one when XGPH came on down to the bot lane, but these junglers are now run into each other. Item advantage goes to XGPH with the finished Umbral play, but Alex 5pop might walk on in, and Evelyn could be in some trouble. Has Flash and Exhaust. Gets exhausted himself, but the Flash keeps him safe. They just disengage, so Flash and heal burned by Wilson, and just the Exhaust from QWQ for the side of U Ottawa Gray.
Finally, some attention to the bot side, and you know what? Not really too late. It's still very much a possibility that you can find a kill on Wilson and Evelyn, right? It's two champions that aren't known for getaways. They're known for just kind of staying in the middle and being able to walk their way out. So I definitely feel if they do try and take that chance, they can fight it out. But here's the problem, right? Wilson is starting to do so well in terms of getting that damage out, and now XGPH getting routed here. Oh no.
Nice dash through. Beautiful play from XGPH. Just outplays Alex 5pop. He ulted over the wall but could not get it done. Rager on board. Does have access to the Corki ultimate, and the Chains of Corruption will land onto the Draven. He lives for now, but Wilson goes on a killing spree, and they're all going to fall. XGPH picks up the kill on that one. Double knockup will go down in the top lane, but Rager on board going for a solo kill, picks up the Corki to Q-Pop, gets the job done, and this top tier one will fall, and UR Light is very, very low. No access to the heal work or the ghost for Tanksys, but it doesn't matter. It's still a solo kill as UR Light falls in the top lane. It's disaster all across the rift for U Ottawa Gray.
It's a delayed ace. That's the worst part, right? Delayed ace for the team, and that has multiple implications, right? XGPH was routed, was caught out, had to burn the flash. But Rager on board, I said it time and time again, Rager on board on this Sylas is a menace. Has been roaming out consistently from lane in games 1 and now in game 2. You have to be aware of that fact. Autruche has not been able to do the same on this Corki and has fallen behind in that sense. And granted, Autruche plays a relatively passive champ pool, right? Plays the Lux, plays the Corki a little bit more lax in that sense. So right now, it's a problem. Having all those kills also go into the pocket of Wilson and XGPH, who honestly hasn't been in the game as much. Now 2, 1, and 4 on disgrace on their own side is going to bring so much pain later on into this game. It's so dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, item spikes now coming in all across the Rift. We'll see the Everfrost and the Riftmaker finish for both these solo laners for the side of Queen's Gale. Tanks is looking for something on Alex 5pop, but not going to find anything quite yet. Evelyn Love just going to pick away some of this vision. So a nice play all across the Rift. Of course, the solo kill feels really, really good. Those chains almost hit on accident, almost on to Trush, but nothing quite yet. The first Drake was taken about 4 minutes ago by Golden Gales. Keep messing that one up. They'll get it. The next Drake will spawn in just under a minute with people taking some resets, but Alex 5pop might be looking on the Rager on board. Drops the silence. Rager on board will take away the missile barrage, but not going to find anything just yet. Both top laners still hanging out, farming away. We'll see if the next fight does come at the Drake or if either side decides to just give it on up.
I mean, honestly, Rager on board can grab any ultimate and feel fine, right? The big scary one that you got to be worried about is if he grabs a Heartbreaker, right? If the Heartbreaker comes down, it's Reset City and you are screwed. So Rager on board right now, just kind of farming up, and this is going to continue, right? Has a massive CS lead over in the mid lane, and with the Dragon coming up now, it's going to give even more time for the team to work around. Of course, Wilson trying to do their best to dip, dive, and dodge, and good flash away.
Now flashes away, throws the Chains of Corruption as well. Flash forward from QWQ, trying to get the job done, but the shield though keeps Wilson alive, just not accounting for it. UR Light with the TP in, looking first on a Rager on board, but Alex 5pop can't really get in here. The Ornhorn finally going to come down. Dark Utopia here as well. Knockup will land on to Rager on board. They're going to turn their focus now on Evelyn Love.
My gosh.
TP coming in from the Corki, but Alex 5pop might go down, but a shutdown first. Goes over to UR Light as Rager on board will fall. Evelyn Love taken very, very low. XGPH in some trouble, but guess who's here? It's Tanksys with access to the needlework. Double knockup going to land, but it will not matter. XGPH grabs one. The W going down as well. No more needlework available for the Gwen. Polymorph comes down, but it's a triple kill first to the Graves. All that's left is poor little Lulu. Dark Utopia cannot live through this one. Tanksys goes on a killing spree, and it's another delayed ace for the side of Golden Gales. I mean, it's just so rough. I mean, the TPs come in, things look okay at first. You take down the Sylas for a shutdown, but it's Golden Gales just too strong, playing that one very, very well, and they'll grab the Drake for themselves also.
And I mean, the fact of the matter is a lot of your damage is currently sitting on that Draven right now, as much as that sounds like such a redundant fact. Who again, the Draven is sitting at 0-3-1, right? It's I mean, you need your Draven, and with the Draven falling very early on, the next damage output is Alex 5-Pop, who got routed early on. So the fight itself was kind of lost at the beginning, and they made the best out of a bad situation. But you stuck around a little bit too long. Golden Gales able to follow up, gain even more out of it, and now they're at a 14-3 lead, right? This is a 10k lead at 16.5 minutes, right? This is now fully in their control. As much as game number 1 was fairly close, I don't see game number 2 falling back to the wayside of you, Ottawa Gray.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult at this point, especially when the side of Golden Gale scales so well. And I mean, this is the point I brought up even just from the bot lane, which we've already seen the solo lanes play very, very well for themselves. But not only did the Varus Soraka lane come out even, they were ahead. I mean, Soraka's already got the Moonstone finished out. The Chains of Corruption going to take Dark Utopia very, very low, but they will get the Wish to come out from Elden Love. The Heartbreaker going to be used defensively, and a nice flash keeps him alive. The Ornhorn going to come out as well. Evelyn Love taken decently low, but no knockup to be found. Alex 5-Pop is able to escape with his life, but I don't know if this mid tower will be able to sell the same. But QWQ is here to try to defend it. Rager on board, just going to walk on out. With UR Light here, this tower is safe for now.
And this is Golden Gale just saying, yeah, this is our territory now. They can do this over and over again, and they will take control of the game however they feel. Tanks is now at a 3-1-3. UR Light can't duel against it, and it's Golden Gale's just saying, hey, we'll go ahead, tighten the noose a little bit, we'll bring down a lot of pressure, crumble your defenses, and there's nothing you Ottawa Gray can really do about it except for find pick after pick after pick. But that relies on the Gales being in those opportune spots, right? Like this, I guess. Oh dear.
Evelyn Love dodges out on the second half of the ultimate from RQWQ, just not able to get things done. XQPH might be in some trouble, but the Wild Growth will keep Alex 5-Pop alive for now. Rager on board. Chains will not land. Does have a couple of missiles he can toss out from behind this wall, but not going to throw him out just yet. Autruche still alive, but with 1 HP. XGPH going to just take away these Raptors. The mid-tier 1 will fall. But with health bar so low on the side of Ottawa Gray, and the Rift Herald definitely going to strike. You can only imagine this one will fall too. It's just bad if it hits all 3. This hurts so much. Rift Herald low HP, but it's going to hit regardless. XGPH comes on in, and the Chains of Corruption will take down RQWQ, and UR Light will fall as well as Tanxus goes on a rampage, and the Rift Herald is still alive. The only person with low HP is your Soraka, but with access to the package, Rager on board. Rager on board stays alive. The package takes Wilson very, very low, but not quite to the gray screen yet. Dark Utopia gets flashed on by XGPH, and XGPH goes dominating the Heartbreaker. But now he's picking up a Soraka. You can't do anything with the soul of the enemy's support, and they all fall. It's another delayed ace. The Draven is back up, and no more wave. And I heard you mentioning it. 5 objectives fall. All 3 mid towers, the inhibitor, and a Nexus turret face the wrath of Shelly in the mid lane. Such a good play from Queen Gale. We already talked about they had a 10k gold lead. That has only ballooned after all those structures were taken.
For anyone tuning in that does not know, Shelly, you normally only get like 1 or 2 charges, right? You drop it in mid, you get a tower, maybe a charge off, and then you maybe get a second on the inner, right? That's what a Shelly will do for you. Mind you, this was second Shelly as well, so no extra one coming up. But to get 3 is ridiculous. 3 means that the opponent is so far behind that they have no chance of even hitting the back of Shelly. To get 4, outrageous. To get 5, at that point, close the door. I mean, like, that is game right there. That one hurts. Golden Gales, they are so far ahead. And honestly, it's because they know that they have the strength. Their champions that they picked up excel whenever there is a gold difference and when they have to play individually. Again and again, we're seeing a Rager on board, and Tanks is saying, yeah, we're fine. We can always win this one out. Chain of Corruptions finds Dark Utopia.
He stays alive for now. XGPH taking decently low, but he's got a Soraka behind him. A massive knockup from UR Light, but not going to find anything yet. There's double Ornhorns on the map, but it looks like Ragers on board is just much better. Double kill over to Wilson. That last auto follows after the Blast Cone, the Wish coming down. Just to keep everyone a little bit healthier, and Dark Utopia cannot live this one out. Silas, Rager on board, going to TP on in to the wave. at the Nexus turrets, and there's just no competing left. Nexus turret will certainly fall. Alex Fivepop trying to make a play, but forced to use the Heartbreaker defensively, and Wilson gonna pick that one up as he goes legendary 8-0. It's an ace after the needlework takes him down. Game 1 was pretty darn close between these two teams, Golden Gales and U Ottawa Gray. They made it look pretty good, but in Game 2, it is all Golden Gales all the time. Practically everyone ending with a shutdown. Such a beautiful play on Summoner's Rift as they take the series win.
I mean, this is the top team. That's all
Yeah.
we can really say here. Game number 1, they got a little bit over aggressive. The composition itself lended it to a little bit rougher early game. We knew that going in, right? We knew that the bot lane was going to be a big focus, and U Ottawa Gray played it appropriately. Game 2, signature champion for Rager on board, ridiculous output there. And then the early kill on Alex Fivepop, rough time there. Followed up with the fact that they just outplayed at almost every team fight. Queen's Golden Gales played exceptionally well. U Ottawa Gray, you can't really hate on them. They tried their best. They tried to play their own game, and it just didn't match up well. So, unfortunate series loss. Hey, maybe you get another chance aiming into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it is a series loss. It doesn't feel great for your standings going into playoffs, but your season, is not done yet. They've still got a chance to pick things back up, find their game, but you're definitely right. I mean, Golden Gales, this is why they're at the top of their game and at the top of the standings. Just such good play all across the board. Tanksys, of course, popping off in Game 1. In Game 2, we saw everybody going pretty crazy. Tanksys playing well. Great play from Rager on board. Wilson also ended the game deathless with 10 kills. I mean, fantastic play from the Varus Soraka lane. Overall, nice, very clean game, ending that one much faster than Game 1. That's all we've got here from the NECC. Thank you for tuning in with us for the Champions Ontario series between Golden Gales and U Ottawa Gray. Once again, I want to say thank you, Orbital. Always fun casting with you. Hope to do it again sometime soon next week. I will catch you guys later. Thank you all so much for watching, and stay safe.